a government to court. But this government is taken to court in several cases. That shows how democratic this government is. But this is what people want. We need a very decent society that people will live in. You express yourself. Honorable Speaker, we talk of youth and women representatives. Sometimes, let's allow ourselves and represent the people as we should represent them. Let's leave this bill to come and pass. We go to the committee stage, and then whatever you have, whatever you reserve, you bring it. But you want to kill it at this moment. People are saying we'll bury it. Let's not do that, honorable members. We talk of a new constitution. Honorable Speaker, even me, I have some reserves. There are clauses that I say no to them. But I can also bring my own. There will never be a document that will be placed here that all of us will embrace it. But sometimes I see people don't want the legacy to go, to say this president, it was during his time we have a new constitution. That's right. We need new constitution. We definitely need a new constitution. If you don't have a new constitution, we are talking of, there are a lot of things that is in the constitution. Even the president, the current president, he has mercy. He wants to exercise mercy on the people. And he's not acting on all those clauses. So this bill have very, very progressive clauses that we need to allow the bill to pass so that we can also bring our own input. You can have your own input, you bring it, we have a new constitution. But you cannot say this will stop here. When are we talking of having a new constitution? And all of us are thinking to have a new constitution. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I take my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jara West. I now invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, allow me a few seconds to pray to our brother who lost his mom just a few days ago. Honorable Minister of Justice, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the mom Jannat Firdaus and all the departed souls. Honorable Speaker, momentarily we are in this chamber. The chamber that brought this 1997 Constitution. The chamber that brought in the historic narration of this country the separation of power that others are copying today to be called democrats. It is this same country. Successfully, Interior Minister is no more conducting the electoral and the electoral process observing in this country, through which the birth of this constitution had brought us the Independent Electoral Commission. Honorable Speaker, as I heard the Honorable Minister of Justice saying that he is standing here before us not only a Minister of Justice, but as a Gambian. But I'm also going to put it to him that all of us are all Gambians from various constituencies. And in so doing, we are the representative of the people of the Gambia in various constituencies. Honorable Speaker, this draft, this 2024 draft, in my speaking, I'll be borrowing the frequency of languages that was used by the President in making sure I could beautify the soup so that it become eatable for us. This constitution was brought by the cabinet, contrary to 2020, which was all around the length and breadth of this country, from Katong to Koina. Each and every hamlet, villages, constituencies, people, and also various representations were consulted. I do hear members saying 1997 constitution, how bad it is, how inefficient it is, the way it has been doing, or a whole lot of issues that they will name it. But I think if it is me as a person, I will not stand before in these chambers to even participate in a debate, thanks to the formation of this government that brought 1997 constitution. Today, we are not in a room and a parlor called the chambers of the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, we need to be very cautious in our deliberation. If, for example, you're comparing and contrasting the 1997 Constitution, 2020 draft, and the 2024 draft, naming this not fit for purpose, naming this as expired. But it was this same government that the position of the Vice President was left for 8 months without any appointee. Honorable Speaker, we believe in principle that there are no perfections in terms of constitution, but we also believe in principle that nobody will come and spoon-feed us or bring something that is not the wish and aspiration of our people, most of the people of Fonyi Kansala. I am told, and my message is very clear, that my first consultation when I had with my people was this. They said they put, or in my head, they have given me, or they have put in my head, a bag of salt, how heavy salt is. And they said, in the middle of the chambers, this is where I should split that bag to show to them that Councillor disapproved this. Councillor doesn't want this to be seen. And in our last consultation that we had, the three of us, Jarol, Bondali, and Councillor, this is how they put it, people who went to national civic education. But it was not a consultation, it was just an informative, inform you that this is what is happening, we are onto this. You cannot add, you cannot say what you want, you cannot say anything, just be listening to them as spectators. But I'm telling you, they said to me again also, Honorable Jiba, you are representing Councillor. This draft must be buried 40 feet deep in this chamber. $40 feet. This is what my people are saying to me. And now, I have to be very clear. I am a consultative representative. I don't go to radios, whatever. I visit, talk to my people. 95.5% are saying no to this book. No to this what? Terikafo book. They are now saying no to this what? Cohort group book. This is what they said. And I'm reporting directly from Councillor. And they are hearing me, and they will hear me loud. This is what they are sending me to. Honorable Speaker, when this government came, ranging from coalition partners, it is now 8 years, evidence, 8 years, in service of governance. They were now saying, no, this we will change. And this was the slogan of change.
Observation.
So when they did that, change occurs to their favor. And it was answered. The first is, let's amend the age limit. The second is, if you are from a political party as a National Assembly member, you can jump the boat as you will, in and out, accept it. But they have forgotten the Public Order Act. That they said most of them were crying foul to the former government. It was not only rejected, it was brought and rejected, and they say we are not supporting it. So I want to, Honorable Speaker, I want to put this question. Who are they? And what has changed? What have they moved into? And what do they want? So you want us to join the group or the Bahal cabinet of this? These were slogans that were used. I'm just borrowing, and it's all over. I'm just borrowing to make sure things flows. And you have to understand. Honorable Speaker, now moving on, you realize that in the 2020 draft, chapter 4 of the 2020, you realize that the commitment of accountability, the commitment of poverty is not in this. Now, when you move again to section 273.
Speaker, order.
Now,
point of order.
On a point of order?
Yes,
Lower Fuladu,
yes, I'm raising order 29, content of speech. 1. Every member shall restrict his or her observation to the subject matter under discussion. We are talking about the general merits and principles, not in depth of the bill itself.
Yeah, sustained. That is sustained. You don't go into the various provisions of the Constitution. Please. Kansala, can you take the floor, please?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Now, in the area of what we believe to be progressive, our teachers deserve better. But this is zero for Teacher Service Commission. Our nurses deserve better, 0 to it, comparing to this book. 100 million plus was spent, length and breadth of country. The waves of aeroplanes were taken all around in Europe, just to be thrown away. And now you hear members saying they have reasons of throwing that book. Now I wonder, most of the cases people said term limit is there, 50+1 is there. Do we look like term limit seekers? For you people, my councillor, I said, let me put it to you people. Are councillor working on term limit, or they are working on 50+1? They want a constitution that will stand and also work on the aspiration of the Gambian people. Ask yourself, do Parliament have time limit? Why don't we put time limit for ourselves? So if you believe and said, okay, based on this constitution, time limit is there, we could work towards making sure it's progressive. 50+1 is there, progressive. Who told you that the next government cannot even take the whole assembly? Who told you? You are the believer, allazina yu'minuna bighayb. You are the believer of unseen. Who told you, members? Who told you? So you want to narrate people and say, you know, it will never happen. As if you know what is coming. You know what is coming. It will never happen. So we want to put this reality, Honorable Speaker, that whatever we are to do, we are guided by the principles of our people, the principles of people who want us to make sure we stand and defend the cause that is hijacked, and we will never be in the hijacked group of a Concorde jet. Honorable Speaker, naturally, I put this question. If, for example, the necessity of repealing this constitution, repeal this, I believe what could have made life very easier by now is we have this book. When they came, the ambience were okay. They are flying health and shelter. We took over, we took over, we took over. It could have been a moment where they said, look, this is a constitution. We have the entrenched clause and the clauses that are not entrenched. Let's group them together. 1997 constitution. That let's group them together, those clauses that are entrenched, we group them together, we move to referendum. Those who are not entrenched, we make sure that we work towards the assembly and repeal. This could have also helped us. The 100 million could be now used on them man. That is a dead row squad, as we feel. Them man clinic. Our schools, the 100 million could have been used for that. And now generally, this, as I may end, this book, this Terikafo book, this, I am saying that it doesn't work on defending my culture. I believe in my culture. It's zero to my culture. Zero to my culture, and I'm saying it's zero to it, to be buried 40 feet deep. And secondly, I'm also saying, Honorable Speaker, that this is a book that is not in line with my principles and the rule of law, and what I think is objectively for 2.3 million Gambian populace. I end by this, and I will repeat. I am sorry for the Justice Minister who brought this, but it will be a lesson. And the lesson is 40 feet deep is the final destination on peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala. I now invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is, Honorable Speaker, it's not our duty to please NPP. Honorable Speaker, looking at the Constitution, I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia.
Order, Speaker. A point of order. Yes, I rise on the same order, content of speech. The member is talking about pleasing MPP. We are not about MPP. We are about the country. So we want him to understand that we are here for the country, not about the party.
Honorable, you cannot avoid talking about political parties. Yeah, it's part of the whole broad-based coalition. Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang, can you continue?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. I want to also thank the honorable ministers here present. I want to thank the honorable members also here present. And I want to thank the gallery and everybody around. What we are about to witness is the burial of the draft Constitution 2024. Going forward, that is what we are about to witness. And this is one of the most interesting things in this National Assembly today. Going further, Honorable Speaker, as a nation, when we speak, it's not because we want to speak. When we debate, it's not because we want to please anybody. We debate because we want the interest of the nation and because we want this nation to progress as a nation. Honorable Speaker, we must know what is the difference between the 1997 Constitution and the draft Constitution 2024. Looking at the 1997 Constitution, it's talking about the appointment of chiefs by the president, which becomes a challenge as well. Today, our chiefs, as we can see, most of them are appointed by the president, all of them, appointed by the president. Now, at that point in time, we are looking at a progressive society where people want people to hold position whom they actually want to serve them. If the people don't want you in your constituency, for you to become a chief, an individual to appoint you, just for you to serve the individual, I think we should look at that as a nation. That is what we refer to as a progressive constitution and a progressive society. When we made laws to better the situation. I said it again, we are not making laws to worsen the situation. And most of the people are coming up with the argument that we should pass and at the consideration stage, then we can amend it. Mantakela B, mantakela Sam. The reason as to why, most of the time, in the consideration stage, we are overpowered by the majority at all the time. All the time we are overpowered. What is the certainty that we can have them to amend it the way we want it? Never. Many a times they will bully us and tell us everything that they want to tell us here, even when we are on the right track. We are at the stage and we are ready to bear it. One may ask, how did he come up with all this? There was a consultation that was made by the NCCE, National Council for Civic Education. And they call all the stakeholders that they want to call, the alcalos and the chiefs. Foni Bintang and Foni Brevet were boxed together. I was there. And you know what the people said? They said, Bakari, you should throw this constitution. I told them that you people are saying we throw this constitution. I was into this position, and you are telling, you are reaffirming that we should throw it. We are ready to throw it. Because what is happening is, people are talking about the term limit for the president, for example. Now, you said there is term limit. We are not arguing that there is no term limit. But what term limit are we talking about? Wherein the president have to serve this term and the constitution does not go backward. It starts from where it starts. That we are going to give the president 2 terms again. Mantakela B, mantakela Sam. We are not doing it. We are not doing it. That is actually what we are talking about. This is among the reasons as to why I don't even attend Goodluck Jonathan's consultation. How can he come and tell us what to do and what not to do? As parliamentarians, consultation is important, but we should know what we are going to do. I told you last time that our decision will not be based on what America thinks about us. Our decision will not be based on what Canada thinks about us. Our decision will be based on what our people want, what is applicable here. That is why that consultation meeting, I was not even there. Now, when we talk about a constitution, what is actually a constitution? A constitution is the set of rules and regulations that guides us. And that we should be in a position to determine that. It is our people down there in the provinces, in the rural Gambia, that should know if I do this is a violation. And this and that is what I am expected to do. So, Honorable Speaker, it is interesting for the world to know that we are against this draft constitution and we are against it. And for the last time today, we will attain victory that will go down the line in the history that everybody will talk about. And this victory that we are proud of, and we will celebrate it more than you do celebrate your closest victories here. When you attend your closest victory, it's celebrated. But this time around, this celebration will be more than any other celebration. So consider it dead forever.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Foni Bintang. I now invite the Honorable Member for Woodley West.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I wish to join my colleagues to thank the Honorable Minister of Justice for tabling this bill, and members of Cabinet present here. I also like to thank the NCC and then Gambia participate. Honorable Speaker, sometimes I think I'm in a wrong country. Due to the fact that people whom you know, the progress and the development of this country should be their intention and aim. They are the very people who do not want to any progress in this country. It's a disgrace and a disappointing issue. We are talking of the 2020 draft constitution. You want to reject this draft because of the 2020 draft constitution was rejected? Why? You said people voted against it. That's why today you want to come and vote against the 2024 draft constitution. That is not a genuine reason that the Gambian people should even hear from us. Honorable Speaker, the reason why these people, those who rejected the draft 2024 draft constitution, there is a main reason. Even me, I stood up in a political platform in URR, in my constituency. I said the parliament should not accept the 2024 draft constitution. Reason based on it. 2024 draft constitution. You brought the 2024 draft constitution as a blasted coup for the president. 2020, you brought it as a blasted coup for the president. You brought the 2020 draft constitution as a blasted coup for the president, which fails. And then it was brought for a selfish individual. As we are saying, those who are selfish, they are never selfish. But the one who was behind that draft constitution is the one who, is the guy who was selfish. It was brought purposely for an individual. Let us accept the fact. If you wish, you reject this draft constitution. After rejecting, what next? Ask yourself, what next? You are judging those people that rejected the draft constitution in 2020 as selfish people. What are you going to be judged if you reject this one today? Tell us. Everything happens. It happens for a reason. And then behind the reason, there is a lesson that we need to learn. You people are saying we are going to jubilate, we are going to bury it 100 feet deep. If you want, you bury it 1 million deep. You will see it. It's not for Barrow. It's not for the president. It's for the Gambian people. Definitely. Reject it if you wish. If you wish, you support it. Thank you. We need to forget about partisan politics as mentioned by the minister. And then, how can you mention a responsible people, a responsible cabinet, calling them Bahal cabinet? It's unfortunate. This is one of the best government that we have ever had before since independence. This is one of the best cabinet that we have ever had since independence. Cannot accept the fact. Honorable Speaker, where are we heading to? I don't know. Only have a model. Anything you do, good or bad, you must have a credit. Because if you don't want the credit to go to the present government, that's why you want to reject it. Reject it. And then this government have a credit that nobody on this earth can erase in history. No. Let us accept the fact. This draft constitution is not brought for political reasons. No. It's for the benefit of the Gambian people. But if you are not interested on the development and the welfare of this nation, that's why you want to reject it. It's your soul. Honorable Speaker, people need to know this is a nation. This is a nation that needs to be developed. And then it needs collectively for us to develop this nation. But because of political reasons, or you don't want credit for the present government, you want to reject the bill. Even with or without this bill, the government of the day have already gained a credit. You are talking here, nobody disturb you. Please, be rational, you know. Honorable Sami, be rational. Honorable Speaker, this bill belongs to us. If you want, you pass it. If you want, you reject it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woolly West. I now invite the Honorable Member for Ileasa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, let me first clear myself that as far as this constitution is concerned, through series of consultation in my constituency, the majority of the people in the Ileasa constituency, they give their blessing to this constitution. And then I want to declare from here that I am also in support of this constitution. Honorable Speaker, this constitution before us today is a constitution for the Gambia. It's not a constitution for a party or an individual. We should understand that very well. This constitution, I want you to reflect your mind back. A lot of money, millions of dollars have been spent on this constitution. This draft constitution. So we should make sure that we should not allow that money to go in vain. Honorable Speaker, we have to understand that the Gambia belongs to Gambians, and that we should have love for our country. Definitely this constitution, I know for certain, the majority of Gambians are in support of this constitution. We are few in the National Assembly here. Let us not try to deny them from their right. Let us be fair to our people. Let us be fair to Gambians. And that we make sure that we give chance to this draft constitution. This is all what I want. Honorable Speaker, as I said before, we have to be conscious. We have to be smart and critically look into this constitution. It's a constitution that favors the Gambian people. So as I said before, we should be fair to our people. So as far as I'm concerned, and then I have to dance to the tune of my people. They support this constitution, and I am here to support this constitution as well. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Ileasa. And I invite the Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll join my previous speakers or colleagues to thank the Attorney General for bringing this constitution again. If my memory could serve me well, it was the same Attorney General who brought the last one, 2021, that was rejected before this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, as parliamentarian speaks, there are two things that are confirmed and collaborated. Number one, politicians mostly don't have principle and memory. Two, mostly we are not capable of shame. Honorable Speaker, when this particular document was brought before this National Assembly, there were National Assembly members here today who spoke in principle against the Constitution. Today, they are speaking in favor of the Constitution. That's why I said these two things people said about politicians are collaborated and confirmed today. Honorable Speaker, this is not my first time I said. Constitution is not an ordinary act of parliament. Constitution embodies democratic wills and aspirations of people. Honorable Speaker, we cannot talk about this without giving history. What happened? Why do we have the revised 2024 draft? Why do we have the 2020 draft? The procedures. 2020 was a very progressive one. It was a nationwide consultation, exhaustive consultation inside the country and outside the country. People were engaged what kind of law you want to be governed. You cannot have a constitution that you don't consult the people to be governed. The Gambians agree on that particular constitution. It came before this National Assembly and it was rejected by the National Assembly members. That was people's constitution. That is why many Gambians will say borrowed draft and the people constitution. This is exactly what they are referring to. Because 2020 was consultative, both inside this country and outside this country. But this particular one, a group of people who...
Point of order. Yes, I'm rising on order 29 and I'm rising number 6. The name of the president of the Republic of the Gambia shall not be used to influence the assembly. He's using Barrow here to influence the decision here. So I want him to withdraw.
Honorable, I think you allow the honorable member to continue. Honorable member has not named the president's name.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
We don't
for
need
that progressive rule.
Honorable, just give me, Honorable Latikunda. Honorable, the name of the president was not used. And therefore it cannot be sustained. And we now allow the honorable member for Latikunda Asabigi to proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for that progressive ruling. Honorable Speaker, this National Assembly will refuse to be subject to political capture, surrender, and manipulation. We will refuse it. Honorable Speaker, history, in my view, if you want to be a good politician, you learn history. You don't need to learn political science. Because history, you'll be able to know how great leaders fail. But for political science, Honorable Minister for Information, Political Science will agree with me. You only learn the theories. You only learn theories, but for history, you will learn important past events. For history, you will be able to sort out the relevance from less irrelevance so that you are not going to subject yourself to those who propose simple and deep-minded solutions. And this is what is happening in the National Assembly right now. Honorable Speaker, if you go further, let's ask ourselves, 2020 was very consultative. Where are our youth? Where are the voices of our youth? Where are the voices of our farmers? Where are the voices of our teachers? Where are the voices of our nurses? Where are the voices of our market women? Where are the voices of our carpenters? Where are the voices of our mechanics? Where are the voices of each and every individual that was consulted in the 2020 draft? They threw all those voices together, and few people consider themselves oligarchs who feel that they should not be accountable to any law in this country, and that's the cabinet. The cabinet met together. They threw every ideas Gambians put together in 2020 draft and consider themselves above the law. Honorable Speaker, let's look at why this constitution should not go far. And I pity the majority camp. You see, if you want to defend something, if you don't believe in something, you cannot defend it. And this is what is happening. When they all stood up, they all said the same thing, because you don't believe in this. I remember last week when my senior told me to write an opinion on a particular case. I told him I don't believe in this case. I can't write an opinion. This is what you could have told the executive. You don't believe in this document, so you cannot defend it. That is why all of you are saying the same thing, one after the other. But you don't believe in it. Honorable Speaker, 2020 was blood and sacrifices of Gambians. And we will make sure we restore the blood and sacrifices of Gambians. When Gambians galvanize themselves to a very powerful political force and remove former President Jammeh in 2016, we did this because we want a progressive Gambia. We did it because we want a new constitution. That is why I said this 2020 was blood and sacrifices of Gambians, and we are going to restore this. We are not going to negotiate around 2024. And Honorable Speaker, let Gambians don't get it wrong. We, the opposition, are ready to negotiate. But we can only negotiate around the 2020 draft, not the revised 2024. So people should not mistake that opposition to this particular document. No, we don't. We want to negotiate, where we are going to negotiate around the 2020. Honorable Speaker, let's look at presidential term limit and the transitional clause. 2020, there is term limit. But 2020 went further to give us the transitional clause, to explain to us the current term of the president is included, is counted. This 2024 doesn't have that. So literally it's telling us that President Barrow can say, I am starting my term this year or next year. His pleasure and discretion, we cannot allow that. We cannot allow one man's pleasure and discretion to govern us. This is why 2020 was eliminated in this National Assembly, because you guys felt that the transitional clause should not be part of it. And the same thing is repeating. We are not also going to accept this until there is a clear transitional clause that will tell us all the previous term of the president are counted. Honorable Speaker, powers of the president versus checks and balances. I said it here. We will not allow anybody to be an oligarch whereby you are above the law. You are not going to subject yourself to our rules and regulations. You are not going to subject yourselves to the law. There was this common sense. If you are the guards now, who will now guide the guards? That's what is missing in this particular constitution. The president is the guard. Who is going to guide it? We want the rules, the laws of this country to guide every action of the president. And this is what is missing in this 2024 draft. Honorable Speaker, we also got human rights and freedom. 2020, the detention period was 48 hours. 48 hours. Why is this government so eager to detain people to 72 hours? What is wrong? Because, you see, what is always passing in the mind of Parliament when we are making laws is for the good of citizens. 48 hours is to give police ample time to be able to react to crime and investigate it properly, so that people are not going to be detained in this country for 72 hours. And there was 48 hours in the 2020 draft. This new draft said 72 hours. Why do you want to detain citizens to that amount of hours? Honorable Speaker, decentralization and local governance. We don't want to see local governments that are mere extension of the executive. We want to see independent local government authorities. You can see on and on and on. Local government authorities are in loggerhead with the government before the courts. So the 2020 draft was very clear on ambiguous terms. The local government authority and the financial independence. But this 2020 draft came to overhaul all of that and still feel that local government authorities should be mere extension of the central government. This another Honorable Speaker, this constitution will collapse before this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, accountability and integrity in public service. If you look at this draft, the government used a shield before themselves and accountability. You cannot rule people and you don't want to be accounted for. I'm not saying completely, there is no complete accountability in the draft, but the accountability is not very clear. And we don't, this parliament don't want to make laws that are not clear. If you make laws that are not clear, they go before the court, it attracts several interpretations. We want to make sure accountability mechanisms in this constitution are as clear as white paper. Honorable Speaker, socio-economic rights. Another thing that is seriously missing in this constitution. In the 2020 draft, there was right to free education. This 2024 draft came to revise all of that. Gambian citizens are poor. We want to make sure that there is free education all over, and this 2024 draft is not something that we can go by. Honorable Speaker, public participation and consultation. Constitution should be, people should be consulted, especially those who are going to be governed. And this is what happened in 2020, but it's not happening in 2024 because this draft was done by the cabinet. 23% out of 2 million people cannot impose their wills and caprices on us. Therefore, this constitution will collapse before this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, another interesting part in this constitution is total removal of a total chapter on leadership and integrity. Honorable Speaker, this is so key. Any leader must be accountable. We cannot just bring in any leader to rule us. So why is the executive agree on to remove the entire chapter on leadership and integrity? What are they trying to hide from public? What are they trying to hide from us? And in fact, if I am the president of this country, I'll be very, very happy if my Inspector General of Police or my cabinet are subject to National Assembly approval. What is more pleasing than that? What is more, you look at the television, you watch your potential ministers, your potential Inspector General of Police being scrutinized by the National Assembly. In fact, by way of that, you know that you are now coming to appoint quality people. Because the National Assembly will scrutinize their background, their education, their integrity, their everything. So you, as the President of the Republic, you'll be so happy to know that now I am coming to work with people with high moral, people with integrity. Some of the ministers sitting here, they remove this because they know they will not pass this National Assembly scrutiny. That's why they connect with the President and remove all of that. But if I am the President, I'll be so happy to see my Inspector General of Police scrutinized by members of Parliament, my potential ministers. What is wrong with that, honorable ministers? Why do you people remove that part of it? You don't have trust in yourselves that you'll pass the National Assembly scrutiny. So based on that also, this constitution will collapse before this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, another important thing is the weakened National Assembly. This constitution weakened our role as the supreme oversight body in this country. This National Assembly is already weak. Imagine if it is further weak.
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
This National Assembly is a weak National Assembly.
Honorable Speaker, point of order. Honorable Member for Opanyomi. Honorable Speaker, Order 67-1. Second reading. 1. On a motion being moved that a bill be read second time, the general merit and the principle of the bill may be debated. Honorable member is going into the details of the bill. So let him restrict himself to the merit and the principle of the bill. Thank you.
Honorable member, he is giving a synopsis of the whole constitution. He's not going into the relevant provisions. He is talking, honorable, please. He's talking broadly on this. Honorable, what I thought you would have said was, the honorable member, I oversighted that you cannot insinuate into what people are doing. You are accusing honorable ministers that they know they will not pass, as if you are the entire National Assembly or you are part of them. That was not gentlemanly at all. Avoid those types. But you can continue with your these things. Please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other thing this National Assembly should do themselves a good favor is because this 2024 draft makes us a very weak oversight body. Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Speaker, now, this National Assembly, we all know, is not a very strong National Assembly. If we further allow ourselves to be more weakened by the Constitution, then it's better we don't come and sit here. Because by way of that, we will not be able to perform our oversight function on ministers, permanent secretaries, the executive arm, the directors, etc., etc. And this draft constitution aims to make us a very weak National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, also this constitution...
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
A point of order?
Honorable member for opinion, Honorable Speaker.
Opinion?
Yes. Honorable Speaker, on the 29, content of speech. 5. No member shall input improper motive to any other member. Honorable member is imputing improper motive on honorable members by saying that this assembly is going to be a weak assembly. If that's what he said.
Honorable members, honorable member for Latrikunda Sabigi, I think you should, all members should go to protect the integrity of this institution. We should not go about it and don't make statements that are not corroborated. You cannot make statements that you cannot have justifications for. You know, you implying on the whole National Assembly only when you are alone in your whole thing, making a statement against the whole institution. Please avoid those ones.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, another thing this draft constitution did is to remove the cap on ministers. We have given the president the discretion to appoint even up to 100 ministers. And I am sure why there was cap on the number of ministers to be appointed is to reduce the cost of governance. Imagine all these ministers sitting here, your car, your utility, drivers, and other emoluments attached to the office of the minister. If that is multiplied, it means that the cost of governance will be multiplied. And that is why the Constitutional Review Commission deemed it fit that let's reduce the cap on the amount of ministers to be appointed by the president. But the executive arm of the government revising the 2020 draft now makes it very open. Makes it open means you have every intention to increase the cost of governance, to make governance very expensive, to make Gambian citizens pay a lot of salary to ministers. That is also another reason this constitution will collapse before this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, on a final note, and I said it in my preamble, this National Assembly will refuse to be subject to political capture, surrender, and manipulation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabigi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for bringing this bill before us. But then to start with, I think you have put the cart before the horse. Because for me, what I am seeing here is, yes, allow the bill to pass, commit it to a committee, let them do the necessary consultations. When in reality, when the ministry was drafting this very 2024 draft constitution, the approach should have been doing the necessary consultations to enable the government to align part of the content in the 2020 draft constitution that was rejected by this very National Assembly. Because the issues that actually emerged in the 2020 draft constitution that led to its rejection was about 15 issues. When the executive took it upon themselves through your office, it emerged that over 126 issues actually emerged because those were the changes done by your ministry. And today, it seems the National Assembly is sacrificed. That's the way I see it. Because one, if we support it, there will be good that would say they have supported the wrong document. If we reject it, it will almost be the same. But to tell you, Honorable Minister, we must understand the fact that the executive and the National Assembly must work hand in gloves in order to achieve the desired goals for sustainable national development, which I am not seeing. All that I see is anytime when there are issues that are for national interest, we tend to put in politics. Imagine, since the Ministry of Justice started drafting this very document, there was no instance that they put the members of the minority caucus and members of the majority caucus together to discuss as a family. Instead, what was happening is, even this very morning, ministers offering their expertise to the majority caucus as if it is going to be the usual way, that simple majority. In this case, it's different. You now hook yourself, and I would see where you will overcome that hook, because there is no way that we will take it light for anybody when it comes to national issues. And we must understand this. And we must understand the fact that no single party or individual can develop this country. If you look at the draft, one thing that even baffles me is the sect, that is the youth sect, that we think or believe covers majority part of our population. We cannot even properly define them. We are referring that youth age from 18 to 35. To remind you, even in the National Youth Act, the youth age is in between 15 to 35. Except otherwise, the Gambia want to use a different approach. And these are the very people we will go out for to cast votes for us when we want to canvass votes. But if it comes to their plight, we take it very light, and we attach no importance to that very sector. Honorable Speaker, today I am seeing my colleagues playing the victim card, saying, let's allow it to pass. Who is saying we are not going to allow it to pass? You can even see it from your body languages, that you are desperate as a camp. You are desperate as a camp. And this should also tell the leadership that you don't really have the people that can convince the masses when it comes to issues that are sensitive. Seriously, we should have discussed some of these issues outside, but you shy away. You think, yes, you have the numbers. And to be honest with you, we cannot trust you. We have seen the games. It was a week or so when a committee's report was before us to hold people to account, to hold institutions to account, to put the country in a better footing. You refer it because you think holding public officials to account
Point of order,
is like attacking
Speaker.
the government.
Point of order, please. 67. Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on order 67 on a motion be moved that a bill be read a second time. The general merits and principles of the bill may be debated. We are not debating issue of FPAC report or its resolution. So let him make reference to the constitution that is under discussion. So restrain or restrict your observation on the constitution. Thank you.
Honorable members, you see, when you debating a law like the national constitution, it will be very difficult to debate it without bringing in some inferences to some other things. Because the very principle we are now talking about, the very honorable members, please. We are talking about the merits and the principles. Honorable, a minute. We are talking about the merits and principles of a constitution, the supreme law of the land, that incorporates almost every other thing. What we will not expect members to do is to go into some of the details of the Constitution. But to make some broad-based statements about the Constitution and relating to other things, those are the principles and the merits. Yeah, you know, when you talk about the FPAC, you aligning it to the Constitution in a sense that why that principle or these things should not happen or should happen to offset that. So let's try as much as possible avoid talking about the general provisions of the Constitution. Constitution as it relates, because everything you talk about is here. Anything you talk about is here. So it's going to be difficult to limit people from not making other statements. Honorable Member for Janjambure.
Thank you. Let me borrow this word, Honorable Speaker. Magbah Nasikir, and I think age is wisdom. Thank you for having you. And also what I notice is if you talk about accountability, you see crocodile tears coming down from some members. And, you know, if we are to represent, sometimes we don't have to be emotional. We don't have to take things personal. What we are saying here is, let's put things in the right way. That reminded me. This is why even in the draft, in the 2024 draft, the accountability aspect is being deleted. And that even make the parliament very weak. For example, like the president's spouse should declare assets is something that we really lose in the 2024 draft. And you know, sometimes we really need to protect our public officials and their spouse. And to do that would be for them to declare whatever asset they own before they occupy number 1 Marina House. After, when they serve, they should also do the same. That can give the citizens the opportunity to actually understand whether, before they come to power, what was their wealth. After leaving, what do they also have? You know, that can also kind of, clean their hands with political parties as well. To say political parties should declare the fundings they receive. This doesn't go well with many political parties. I'm glad that I don't belong to any political party, as long as I am concerned. Because we know very well sometimes the way we get money. We go out there, get money from the mafias, come, spend it on our parties, and after winning elections, we start giving them contracts just to please them. These are the things we want to avoid. We have seen a lot of scandals in this country. From the petition, you name it. No, Russian mom, I don't want to touch that one for so many reasons. That one will come before us someday. The FPAC report that was here a few days ago. How many FPAC reports have we adopted? So our problem is not about laws. Our problem is enforcing laws. For me, that's the way I take things. Even if we say the 1997 Constitution is bad, it's that Constitution that is governing us. That reminds me that this is a plot by the ruling government in order for them to stay long in power. Because they know very well if they come up with 126 changes, no one will accept that from them. If the approach is wrong, no one will accept such a bill from them. Because they know the 1997 favors them. So it's a plot. It's a political plot. It's a political plot. And we will defend the truth to the core. In 2020, it was in the same parliament where we rejected the 2020 draft constitution, when 116 million was spent on it. Not even the monetary aspect, but the consultations were broad and wide. If we can reject that for our own personal interest and come up with something that will really prolong our stay in power, we are saying no, and a big no. It will never happen. Honorable Speaker, the National Assembly floor is not a place where we should just be making noise, but then we should use the opportunity to resolve on issues that will be of national interest. And we have done a lot in terms of accountability, but it seems the executive are not committed or interested in implementing what we call issues that are adopted by this very august National Assembly. And now you are telling us that adopt it, sorry, pass it. If you pass it, when we go for the considerations, we will ensure that the things that we left out, we bring them in. When you were drafting it, why should you leave 126 issues unattended, deliberately deleting them, as if your computer keys can only delete? This is what you are telling us. And aside that, you are telling us that, look, National Assembly members, you are not important to the cause. This is a national document. You cannot do this alone. You cannot do this alone. We have been crying for so many issues. And our expectations were to address them through progressive laws. We were expecting the draft that was going to come before us was going to be consultative. I appreciate the work that the civil society organizations have done. I definitely appreciate that part of consultations they have done. And I believe we have given them the right feedbacks from that point. It depends how government actually process those feedbacks, digest them, and ensure they have a plan to address some of the feedbacks we have given, because government was very busy, not even to engage with us. It were the CSOs until 3 or 4 months ago when NCCE also engaged us. But even with that, the engagements were very limited. You cannot call on alcalos, National Assembly members, chiefs, campaigns or whatever, bring them in a hall, serve drinks and food. You want to discuss on a national document. It's not realistic, neither sustainable. All that we are good at is to go and waste national resources in the name of workshop and also to baffle the masses. That is not this generation. We cannot be baffled, and we will not allow to be baffled by anybody. This is beyond the president. This is beyond the honorable minister. This is beyond the National Assembly. This is about Gambia and Gambians. Imagine some of us saying that, let's support this. Let's support this draft, that is the 2024 draft. When we even struggle to obtain parliamentary questions from the executive, when in the draft constitution, it is omitted to scrutinize ministers before this August assembly. It's deleted. So if this cannot address our problems, I have evidence, I can show it out. I have multiple parliamentary written questions that I struggle to get answers for. And you go to the office of the clerk, they will tell you it's not our responsibility to provide you with the answers or to force ministers to provide you with the answers. Hey, we need laws that will make us effective, not only effective, but efficient to actually do our work as legislators. Nothing more, nothing less. What we are witnessing is not really appealing. And I can see, seriously, I have been interacting with most of you, even from your body languages. Billahi, I sympathize you. I can see a known commitment from your end. And I'm pretty sure you cannot be committed to this. You yourselves know, inside you, this is not representing the aspiration of Gambians. I'm not referring to any camp, but So for me, since your consent is not even allowing you to accept this at the bottom of your heart, let's do the needful. Throw it away. Aside throwing it away, let's come up with a plan either to repeal the 1997 Constitution in order to give Gambians the opportunity to have progressive laws. Since we are saying the 1997 is not progressive, but it is this very Constitution that is guiding the day-to-day operation of this nation. So for me, as I said earlier, the 2024 draft Constitution is a mere scam. On that note, I beg to take my seat.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Janjambure. I now invite the Honorable Nominated Member, Keba Lamfofana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, to start with, I want to register that I rise in solidarity to the draft Constitution 2024. And to do that, I would like to thank the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and the government of the Gambia in their current quest to fulfill a fundamental imperative towards the transformative agenda of our 2016 change. Honorable Speaker, our gathering today is different from any other that we've witnessed since 2022. We are gathered today not to discuss on a single bill. We are gathered today to promulgate a constitution which should serve generations, which should serve as a guiding principle towards the attainment of the aims and aspirations of our people. So, Honorable Speaker, the first question we should have asked ourselves is, what do we want? And by saying, what do we want, that should have mirrored the aims and aspirations of the people we represent. And to do that, we must make a recollection of history. The Honorable Member for Wole is started in 1965. Honorable Speaker, I will start from 1946. The Gambia was not created out of a vacuum. The Gambia came into being out of the sacrifice of great men and women. From 1920 to 1940, there were civil society organizations here, the likes of Edward Francis Small, who were championing the nationalist voice, who were calling for greater inclusion. Because by then, the Gambia was a subject of the British colony. And as a result of that, in 1946, a fundamental issue happened, which was the creation of the first Legislative Council. And what did the first Legislative Council intend to do? Was to make sure that the voices of the people were included in the decision making. And that Legislative Council was a 14-man team. Out of this 14-man team, only 3 people were Gambians. And all of them were chosen from where? Batos. That's why in latter years, when you call for inclusion and greater participation in the way we were governed, people started saying the first Legislative Council was what? Banjul-centric. But, Honorable Speaker, as far back as 1946, our forefathers knew what they wanted. By then, we were a British colony. They said we wanted self-determination. They said we wanted to be governed by ourselves. Fast forward to 1951, the famous McCarthy Commission, which was launched to investigate into the behavior of what? The representatives. Because remember, in 1946, the first Legislative Council, only 3 people were what? Included. All of them came from Banjul, which means the protectorate were what? Excluded. And the governor, who was a British, was having absolute powers. Now, what did the Gambia want in 1951? This was the time when the spirit of Pan-Africanism was flaming at its peak. Countries were moving towards independence. Our forefathers, the Persarniais, you call them, they started laying the foundation for independence and expanded the Legislative Council from a 14-man member team to what? 21. And in this case, the protectorate were included. Banjul 4 and what? The protectorate 4. Did they stop? No. Because still, the Gambia was being colonized and ruled by the British. Then the call for independence started coming. That gave birth to the 1960 Constitution. And in the 1960 Constitution, the foundation was laid for independence. The foundation was laid to ensure that there was inclusivity. In 1970, after independence in 1965, a failed constitution, I would say in 1965 there was a failed constitution, In 1970, we had our first constitution. And in that first constitution, what was the aims and aspirations of our forefathers? It was for what? Sovereignty. It was for what? Citizenship. It was for what? To have an executive president. Did they achieve it? Yes. Because after the 1970 constitution, the Gambia became a republic. With Sadara Karabajawara, may his soul rest in peace, becoming our first president. That is why you and I today, we call ourselves what? Gambians. If not, we would have been British subjects. Why am I saying this, Honorable Speaker? Our forefathers, even in 1970, in 1946, in 1951, in 1960, in 1965, they knew what they wanted. What do we want? Honorable Speaker, the 1970 Constitution enabled the First Republic to rule this country for 29 years. Go to your history. 1965 was rejected. Honorable Speaker, the 1970 Constitution allowed the PPP government to rule this country for 29 years. What we should ask ourselves is, why? Because one, there were no time limits in the 1970 Constitution. Two, there was too much concentration on the presidency. Three, there were no governance with regards to what? The structures of political parties. That in the 1997 Constitution. In the 1997 Constitution, we said it was a transition from rule to what? Democracy. And there were good provisions. Initially, there was the term limit. But what happened to the term limit? It was removed. We said we wanted the protection of what? Fundamental human rights. Yes, they are enshrined in the 1997 Constitution. But what happened to those rights? They were violated numerous times. What happened to those rights? They were not even what? Considered. Then fast track to 2016. Fast track to 2024. I will answer the question why I didn't talk about 2020. And to answer that question, I would quote from Woolley West. He said, it doesn't mean that we failed yesterday, then we cannot do it today. 2020 is history. Let's come to 2024. Honorable members, I will ask the question again. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? I've listened and I've listened keenly. If we are to serve our people, our actions, our utterances today in this honorable hall should not be guided by emotions. But all I'm hearing is like the Senegal drama, Gatsa Gatsa. Far from it. You are not doing it for me. You are not doing it for the current government. In 2016, after the change, we said we wanted a new Gambia. But as Jomo Kenyatta said, he said we must be a united people so that what we can have a new country. We must be united in spirit, in heart, with a major definitive purpose so that we can usher in a new constitution. What happened to the process? I wouldn't elaborate on that. We said we wanted a new constitution. Why? Because one, we realized that the 1997 constitution we were having, too much powers were given what? To the president. We realized that the 1997 constitution we were having, there were no what? Term limits. We realized that even though fundamental human rights are guaranteed in the 1997 constitution, but we do not have the required institutional frameworks to ensure that democratic resilience. We realize that as a people, We must redefine our future. But honorable members, if we must redefine our future, we must remind ourselves that the Gambia is one country. When the constitutional pioneers of America met in 1793 or 1787, there were 13 counties. The smaller counties were looking for equality, whereas the larger counties were looking at what? Dominance, because they have a higher what? Population. But what do? They strike a compromise. That's why the Attorney General told you that constitutional building requires consensus. Are we working towards that angle? No. Do I say everything in this book reflects what each and every Gambian wants? No. But is there any honorable member here who can stand and tell me everything in this book is against what we believe as a Gambia, as Gambians? I challenge any honorable member to take the floor and tell me a provision in this book, in this draft constitution, that is anti-Gambia. There would be none. Honorable members, if at all in 2017, the new Gambia we wanted is the new Gambia that is going to ensure that fundamental human rights are respected, I will tell you that is protected by the 2024 draft. If I told the new Gambia we wanted in 2017, it's the new Gambia that is going to ensure that there are presidential term limits and there will be no self-perpetuation in governments, I will tell you, and I'm telling you for free, the 2024 Constitution guarantees that. Honorable members, if I told the new Constitution or the new Gambia we wanted in 2017 was the new Gambia that will be ruled on absolute majority basis, the 2024 draft embodies that. And honorable speaker, members, if at all what we yearn for is a future that is based on inclusivity, it's a future that gives hope and confidence to our youth and women, I will tell you, they are empowered by the 2024 draft. And honorable speaker, many speakers have taken the floor in a bid to mislead the people. The issue of integrity is a cross-cutting issue in any constitutional process. The issue of integrity and accountability are expressed in a constitution through the word separation of powers. Go through this draft. The legislature is empowered. The judiciary is empowered. Does it have to be explicit? No. It's in the processes and the mechanisms of accountability. You have anti-corruption provisions where the president, the vice president.
Honorable nominated member,
Yes,
I thought you were going to be ready before 1730. Will you give us, honorable members, is going 1730? And if we are to complete, a motion must be moved for us to complete the order paper for today.
Can I move the motion?
Pardon?
Can I move the motion?
Yes, you may.
The Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on 53K to sit beyond 6 and finish business.
Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable member for Lower Salum?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that we sit beyond 6 to complete the order of business today. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable nominated member, you can continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was elaborating on integrity and accountability. And I will repeat that many deliberations were made on the floor here, which sounds misleading. Integrity and accountability issues doesn't need to be explicitly provided in the Constitution. They are in the process. One, you look at how the Constitution expresses the separation of powers into the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And to Honorable Speaker, I made quotation of those provisions of disclosure that warrants the President, the Vice President, and Cabinet Ministers to declare their assets when they are appointed and also declare them when they are leaving office. Is that provided for in the 1997 Constitution? Is it provided for in the 1997 Constitution? No. Which means the 2024 draft is progressive. And Honorable Speaker, today is one of the days that I wouldn't go confrontational, but dialogue. I want to ask and specifically tell the minority camp that in 2020, you were in the majority. Being in the majority, you were not able to convince the minority to join you to pass the 2020 draft constitution, and it failed. But remember, history will frown on you if you fail today, whilst in the minority, not to join the majority and pass the 2024 draft. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominated Member Keba Lang Fofana. I now call on the Honorable Member for Sani Mentere. Is out.
I did not raise my hand. How did you call me? Who gave you my name? It was supposed to be you before me. I did not raise my hand. Say me. I did not raise my hand. How did you call me? How? Parliamentary is back anyway. Honorable Speaker, Parliamentary is back. I'm saying, I never raised my tag, and you called me. Who gave you my name? Exactly. He never raised his tag. No. I did not. Honorable Speaker, Parliamentary is here, so she could be given the floor.
I now call upon the Honorable Member for Serekunda West.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to be on record that I am not in support of the 2024 draft. That's the foundation. Honorable Speaker, in the first place, this government is not serious about getting the Gambia a constitution. In 2016, when they won the presidency, with the promise that they were going to usher us into a new constitution, give us a new constitution, they wasted all the 5 years until the 11th year, 2020, only 1 year to elections, when they brought the 2020 draft, knowing how controversial constitution development takes. So unfortunately, the time was so small that the differences could not be ironed out. And unfortunately, the 2020 draft failed. The following year, this same government won in 2021, again with the promise that they were going to usher the Gambia into a third republic. and they wasted all the 2021, the whole of 2022, the whole of 2023, and now 2024, when elections is just less than a year or more, they come back again with the constitution, not learning from the past. That is not easy to have this kind of agreement under such a difficult lawmaking. Knowing very well also that the past constitution had issues of areas that agreement was difficult to reach. And they deliberately waited until now. Again, we should soon be knocking the streets of the Gambia and Bantabas, canvassing for votes for the next presidential election. And here they are again. What is this government's commitment in ushering this country into a third republic? Honorable Speaker, it is a privilege for me to have taken the floor on this very important motion. Yes, it is a fact that most Gambians wanted a new constitution. That is true. Nobody will dispute that. The Africa Barometer, I think, came out with the results. Agreed. Even though some of their predictions later were faulted by the government. But they agreed that by that barometer, many Gambians want a new constitution, which is true. Nobody will deny that. But Gambians do not want any other constitution. Not any other constitution do we want. No, we don't. We needed a constitution, but not every constitution. We need a constitution that is progressive. That's what the Gambians are yearning for. And the 2024 is not one of them. So therefore, I cannot support it. Thank you very much, Majority Leader. I'm happy that I have debated on the 2020 draft. And it is interesting, even though it is history, I have witnessed in this very chamber faces that jubilated when they killed the 2020 draft. And they didn't only kill the draft on their own will. The government was behind them. The cabinet was also behind them. Because immediately after the CRC presented their report to government, we have seen cabinet ministers, we have seen presidential advisors take up the media, radio and newspapers saying that they will never allow that to go. Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this in Mandinka. Mandingol ko ni friending ko sawan bitak sawan bitak sare do no nen ni sol amo flakebal, which simply means that if the presidential advisors can come open and say we are going to kill this constitution, and the president is mute about it, it's an agreement. That's why I said it was not killed through the members, but actually it was government that was behind it. Honorable Speaker, it was very unfortunate. I can fully remember I used to sit on the seat where the Jara West is sitting, facing the nominated member, former nominated member. Oh, can I name his name? You know, he was chanting and he took the draft and threw it down. And some members are saying that we are going to use this as toilet rolls. Can you imagine that? Where we spend 116 million Gambian taxpayers' money? Unfortunate. However, that is history now. Honorable Speaker, the draft before us is the making of nothing less than 20 Gambians in the name of cabinet. And I've always said that here, this cabinet is quite different from previous cabinets. They are a composition of intellectuals. Nobody can doubt that. But surprisingly, the output of the 2024 draft does not match with intellectual abilities. I don't expect that I will win that from our cabinet full of intellectuals. Honorable Speaker, when they did what they did, fine. Where I faulted them, they should have subjected that draft that they have made to the Gambian public so that the public can have their input and they can incorporate some of those inputs before gazetting it. But immediately when they were done with their draft, they rushed it to gazette it and then bring it to these chambers. The entire public had no chance of having their input in the draft. It was when it was gazetted, the public had access to it, and then people started to make comments. And there is no way those comments could have been incorporated. Because this parliament here would not allow this draft 2024 to pass today. It's going to end today. Just equally like 2020 draft ended here. This 2024 is going to end here today. No doubt about that. Honorable Speaker, yes, it contains some very progressive clauses which has been chanted. Yes, which has been chanted. When I said it contains some very progressive clauses, let me learn maybe other thing. It has been chanted here and it will continue to be chanted. Term limit, 50 plus 1. Fine, it's a progressive clause. But that is not all about a progressive constitution. It may be a progressive clause, but does not mean it's a progressive constitution. Honorable Speaker, that is why the Gambia wanted a progressive constitution. What do we want? Accountability. Yes, and so speakers that are going to come after me, especially in the other camp of my friends, will come with defenses. We know that. But your defenses are going to be meaningless because it's not going to benefit you. Come with your defenses, but it's going to end here today. That's the fact. Honorable Speaker, Gambians don't want a presidential nomination of 5. And Honorable Speaker, I have no issues about the ability and qualifications and the contributions of the 5 nominated members of the president in these chambers. I have no doubt about them. They are all capable, their inputs are valuable, and I am in no way underrating their ability in this parliament. But I am only against the process of a president giving the powers to nominate 5 members of the National Assembly. Each of us, or many of us, are voted in thousands. If you add 5, you are talking about 20, 50, 60, 100,000 votes. You take that and give that power to one person to give an equivalent of 100,000 votes is unfair. That's my position. But not about the people who are occupying the places of nominated members. And the more so, this very constitution is now, or has now given the powers to the president to even sack them. That is very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. You don't want a scenario when the president nominates and again, that president then has the power to sack you, meaning that he will remote control whoever he nominates here. Otherwise, he'll just sack you. And nobody wants to be sacked here. I don't want to be sacked by my electorates anyway. And I don't think any of them would want to be sacked by the chief, who's going to be the president. No. The future people who will be nominated, or even the continuation of the 5, would not want to be sacked. That is a very bad kind of constitution. So, meaning that we are concentrating too much power in the hands of the president. Honorable Speaker, Gambians want a constitution where powers will be checked. The president has the powers to nominate and appoint all the generals in this country. The inspector generals, the accountant generals, the auditor generals, name them, alone, without no subjection to the scrutiny of this parliament. It's not happening in progressive countries, and it's not a progressive constitution. In as much as we want the president to do that, just as we have done with certain commissions and commissioners, let the president have the powers to nominate, and subject to scrutiny, will have the best out of the number he will. And still he has the power. Even if all of them are rejected, he will be the one to bring another set of people. But this 2024 draft has taken that back to the president when it was removed from. Mr. Speaker, I was privileged in one conversation, and this guy told me that what has killed the 2020 draft is what will kill the 2024 draft. And I asked, what was that? He said, the 2020 draft, the opponents are saying that, oh, they are taking all the powers from the president. But 2024 is giving all the powers to the president. So it's the same. Because all powers were taken from the president in 2024, the draft dies. 2024 is giving all powers to the president, it's dead already. So we must go back to the drawing board and see a way forward. As soon as this one is buried. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to repeat what others said, because these 126 alterations, I will just put that aside and just conclude by saying that I urge the Minister of Justice to withdraw this bill. Withdraw the bill because it's already failed, and in case it cannot be withdrawn, then I urge my colleagues from the majority side, join us, kill this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Serekunda West. I now give the floor to the member for Banjul South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think you want me to speak, but I didn't have my tag on, but nonetheless, I will still take the floor.
Sorry, Honorable.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, for me, I think my contribution is going to be very short. I didn't even raise my tag, but notwithstanding, I will still speak. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I think members should respect members when they are on the floor as per our standing orders. We don't want comedians on the parliament. Mr. Speaker, for me, all I'm going to say is that there are very fundamental contents that should be in constitutions, and I think it is lacking in this constitution. We expect constitutions to be more consultative, and that is what we are appealing to the Minister of Finance to do. Some of the members have already said that this constitution, we are in a burial today. Unfortunately, I think that's how it looks. Not only in a burial, but very disappointing one, because from after the failure of the 2020 draft constitution, we were expecting a more inclusive, a more consultative, and a more progressive constitution. When we talk about democracy, we need to educate our population. And when I looked at this constitution, I think the 1997 constitution gave free education to basic and secondary. And this constitution is rather regressive. If you want a democracy in a country, you need to educate the people. And with only basic education, I don't think how we can expose our people for further education. You can't say that you have opportunity for further education if you only guarantee their basic education. That's one fundamental thing. I am an education advocacy, and I promote education. So if I don't see that in the Constitution, that's one principle that I would have expected to see. And constitutional principles are the values which underlie liberal democracy. Those principles, I think, provide the framework for what should drive as a nation, and this includes proper checks and balances. Mr. Speaker, I have always spoken against nominated members in this country, and I started it from my father, who have been a nominated member, and I still condemn that. Mr. Speaker, if the 2020 Constitution, the rejected Constitution, I will say, removed nominated members, and I think it was so welcomed by the people because of the principle. And I think that if we are going to look into a new constitution, we should consider what the Gambian population mentioned in that. I'm not saying, because members have a right to reject or to accept. Unfortunately, that one was rejected. But I think if we should come back, we should look at the best from the 2020 Constitution and include it into this 2024 draft. Not remove the basic principles of democracy, which are integrity, principles of leadership. In a strong democracy, if we cannot hold our leaders accountable, I don't see how strong that democracy can be, Mr. Speaker. And the whole of Chapter 5 in the 2020 draft could have been just expunged and added to the 2020. I am so happy and glad that there is term limit, that there is 50 plus 1. But what is that? In the most progressive term limits, they have strong institutional structures that if they need to remove their leaders and remove them. So for me, to be honest, I would join my colleagues on the left-hand side and just put this, not only put it in the trash, but flush it in the toilet. Thank you.
Thank you, member for Banjul South. I now invite the member for Kiang West.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, cabinet ministers here present, various institutions, civil society, media, honorable Attorney General, honorable members, sometimes I ask myself if the oppositions in this parliament definitely forget the culture in this parliament. Let me tell you one thing. If these people I am facing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 benches, if they have if there is any legal provision that gives them an opportunity, right, to pass this bill without debate, they would have done it since in the morning. They would have. We are debating because the threshold is high. Had they have any opportunity to push this even without debate since 10 a.m., we would have gone home since in the morning. But the opposition, let me tell you one thing.
Next point of order from Janjamure.
Honorable members, I was watching at some point one deliberation by the former President of the United States, Barack, in the British Parliament. Prior to his deliberation, the moderator who took the floor said, history is more than the path the path left by the past. It influences the present and can change the future. History is quite important. Honorable members, sometimes we should think about our actions, consequences of our actions in this parliament, consequences of our decisions in this parliament can haunt this country for more than 30 years. And this is what is happening today. Honorable Attorney General, I could remember very well when you presented the bill for the judiciary officers' remunerations and pensions. I said this here. I said, when you presented the draft constitution, those of you who rejected that, who were in the same government with you, today you are presenting a government bill. A bill that can go to another reading, that can go to consideration stage for us to make amendment. But they say no to that. What is the difference between those two? The very government members rejected that. Government members, I am not surprised. When you rejected that, I wasn't surprised. You are fond of rejecting the businesses that come from your own government. You did it in 2020, this was in 2023, 2024, when you did, I wasn't surprised. You are fond of rejecting business from your own government. Whether it is a pretense from the government bringing those businesses, I don't know. But it's a big surprise for government to bring a business here, where thorough cabinet consultation was done, approved by the president, and comes here, you reject that one. And today we are here seated. The constitution that you want to pass, I am surprised. I am very well surprised. When you're talking about dialogue as far as constitution is concerned, constitutional building is a systematic process. A process that must be consultative and inclusive and participatory. And not only consultative, but incorporation of the ideas that you've consulted from people. You have disregarded the consultative book, the consultative draft, and you brought in a draft which was not consultative. My problem generally is about the process. Constitutional building is way beyond the content of the bill. It's about consulting people. And where those consultations starts. This is why when you promulgated CRC, act from this parliament, what did you put there? Consultation from one community Bantaba to the other. I was privileged to attend Children Consultation Forum at the Rural Development Institute, where they spent more than 3-4 days. Children, underage, students from every family background, irrespective of the language and the color of their skin, converged and they expressed their views on that book. My mother, by the time, who was a market vendor, had an opportunity to express her view as to how she wants to be governed in the 2020 draft. I was opportune also to attend a public hearing in Kian Keneba, where women, irrespective of their background, age, their education background, converged and expressed opinions on that book. This is the type of consultation we're talking about. The disability. These are the consultations we are talking about. And in fact, when we converged at the conference center, this mediation was done by a very respectable person. Good luck, Jonathan. We owe him a big thank, and we must tell him thank you very much for that mediation. But to tell you, Mr. Jonathan, the clauses that we have debated on to strike a compromise, it was at some point that even the opposition was ready to strike a compromise on some of the clauses when it comes to term limit, when it comes to, how to call it, you may also talk about citizenship and other clauses. We almost strike a compromise. Wallahi, that happened. And to our greatest dismay, when the draft was gazetted, we have seen more than 100 changes. You are talking about how bad the 1997 draft constitution, 1997 constitution is. 1997 constitution, no matter how bad it is, within the entire 22 rule, they were able to make not more than 52 changes, 52 amendments. Within 3-4 years span, you are able to make 120 plus amendment in a law. Which government is more bad than the other? I don't understand. That's a big irony. You wanted to sit here and witness that? To be honest, it is very painful to witness such a day. One of my senior honorable members said, there is no trust for us to push it to the next level. Let me give you those proofs. When the budget was brought in this parliament, anything that is brought in the budget as far as the State House allocation is concerned, when this parliament wants to reduce it, you always say no, and your no stands. You went to anti-corruption bill, you butchered it to zero. The illicit enrichment, unexplained wealth, that is the nucleus of that bill. It was removed. Everything was removed. If you have any opportunity to deny us to speak the right of the Gambian people, you do that. Here we have an opportunity to do that. There was a day I told minority leader, I said it's very painful, minority leader. He told me, Nimbi mutenen di lumman tenen. Minority leader, he told me that. And he told me there will be a day your minority will be important. You disregarded this caucus. Anything we advance as far as the amendment is concerned, you disregard it. You want to use your powers, your number. Thanks to the 1997 constitution that you are denying, we have this high threshold. You cannot pass this bill. In 2020, I was sitting watching from debate to voting. I watched everything. I worked seriously because I know what has happened. Sometimes people talk about only $116 million. Can you imagine? You are talking about $116 million during your debate, the electricity that was used in this chamber? Can you imagine the printing of the papers? Can you imagine the sitting allowance? Can you imagine the air-conditioned chambers? Can you imagine the water that you have used? Can you imagine the food? It is way beyond $116 million. You throw everything in trust. And some of the honorable members, when you brought the bill entitled Judicial Officers Remuneration and Pensions Bill, some honorable members stood here and said, the reason why they rejected the draft constitution was because of that clause. So they are also going to reject it. I'm not going to name names. They are my friends. So they rejected that bill. I wasn't happy. And today they are here, and the same clause is still in the bill, and they are asking to support it. I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Inconsistency. You can see inconsistency in everything. Honorable Speaker,
there is point of order. Honorable members, order.
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
There's point of order.
Clause 21, content of speech. No, 5. No member shall input improper motive to any other honorable member. Only member is input improper motive to honorable members by calling on inconsistency. Inconsistency, Honorable Speaker. Inconsistency. Honorable Speaker, inconsistency. Honorable Speaker, inconsistency. That's what the Honorable Member is saying.
Order, Honorable members, order. Honorable members, order, please. Order. Honorable member, your point of order is not sustained. Honorable member, please continue.
There is a clear lack of consistency in execution of your mandates, of your responsibilities. Several times we will debate about numerous things here. We talk about accountability. Somebody has spoken about that clause, which even pains me more. Where, when the executive leaves office, the spouses of the president will not declare assets. So you want them to go and register all our assets under their spouses and they go scot-free? Those are the type of clauses you put in this. You look at the procurement clauses. Procurement clauses where cabinet members can own companies where procurement contract could be awarded to government contracts. Which government should allow that? What is wrong with putting ministers before here and ask them questions? I don't doubt any ability of any of the members, any of the ministers are present. I don't doubt any one of them. If anybody failed to serve members of parliament to come back here, members of cabinet to come here when nominated by president to be scrutinized, to be asked questions as per their competence. That is not in this law. We are never going to allow that. And honorable members, let me remind you one thing. Please, tighten your belt very well. Because from now against the end of this legislature, today is not the last day you will be humiliated beyond disgrace. They are coming numerous times, one after the other. We've dealt with...
Point of order. Honorable Speaker, point of order.
There is a point of order.
Yeah, I'm rising on order 16. On a motion being moved that a bill be read a second time, the general merits and principles of the bill may be debated. Okay? So just to avoid and for the interest of the gallery to understand the debate, this debate is not final. So we would like all members to just debate on the merits and the principles of the bill.
Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, you know, the honorable speaker made a ruling earlier on. We are debating on the general merits and principles of the bill, and taking into account that it's a cross-cutting issue. So making references to other bills or other acts is not out of order. So order not sustained.
Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Please proceed. Honorable members, order.
I am happy because when somebody is desperate, what can you do? Nothing. Nothing you can do. And honorable members, what I'm saying here is, this is not the last time you will face such a difficult moment. We are rejecting this bill today. Come Thursday, if God wishes, inshallah ya Rabbi, on Thursday, when we were debating on the SONA speech, I told you, please withdraw before on the 7th, and here we are on the 7th. And when I debated on 2024 SONA speech, when the president said, we hope that the constitution will go to referendum by December 2024, I thought there was no proper advice rendered to tell him the actual processes of constitutional building. Because I knew that was not going to happen, that was not feasible. In March or April, you cannot expect a constitution to go to referendum in December when it's supposed to be gazetted late in the National Assembly, go for different stages before it goes to referendum. But unfortunately, the constitution that was hoped to go to referendum in December 2024 is rejected, will be rejected on the 7th of July 2025. I never pray for this to be in your legacy as a justice minister. But this is your fate. This is your fate because your own people do not understand the process that you are on. or they do not understand their brief very well, or you do not do your work very well to brief them well. When they are rejecting numerous bills that you're bringing here that are progressive, and they are rejecting them, what do you want us to do for you today? We have nothing to do for you today, rather to reject this constitution. Honorable Speaker, when I consulted Kia West constituent members, I want to thank National Council for Civic Education for their effort. They consulted me and they went to Kia West constituent, joined with Kia Central, and they had an engagement with them. And I was sent their discussion and the recommendations. And I went through all the recommendations that National Council for Civic Education did. It was great. It was perfect. And we want to thank you so much, National Council for Civic Education. Despite the fact that you were not involved at the right stage, but you took it upon yourself to tour the length and breadth of this country, to consult every constituent. Even though I wasn't here, but I was told about your consultation. But the fact of the matter is that is not the beginning of the process. That is not the beginning of the process. If you go to CRC Act, it tells you the beginning of the constitutional building process. I'm not a legal practitioner. But AG, who is a legal practitioner, you know the process of the constitutional building. And some of you will be knocking your head and knocking your head until the end of the day. We are still going to reject it. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, let me make this very clear to all of you. History will judge all of us as public leaders. This term limit you are crying, so long as you don't ensure accountability and transparency in public office, we don't care about it. When there is term limit, no matter how long a leader stays in office, if there is no accountability and transparency, that makes no sense. If our leaders are spending only 5 years, if we want, let's put only 5 years in the bill, as every president. If there is no transparency, if there is no accountability, that is meaningless. That makes no sense. This is what you are envisioning here. We are never going to allow that. The leadership that we trust should be a leadership that manifests that trustworthiness and who wants accountability. How many issues were raised in this parliament with respect to accountability and transparency? They were never responded to. They were never respected. If we are saying it's the issue of 1997 Constitution, 1997 Constitution ordered us to promulgate acts of parliament, how we go by certain activities of our country. When it comes to the appointment of the paramount chief, for how long, which is a legislative provision, President refused that. Complained in this parliament for numerous times and nothing happens about it. More than $60 million is violent without the approval of the minister, which is a legislative provision. You have disregarded laws of this country numerous and numerous times. It is not about the law. It's about the government. I think we need a total character transplant, a total DNA transplant for the government. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kiang West. Honorable members, there were members who were called earlier who were not on their seat. And the outcry of the minority leader is what I realized, that members would wait if they think that they want somebody to speak before them. At the time when they have written their names, they will just go out. And then when those people are called, they come back and want to talk. I will not entertain that. This one is regards the constitutional promulgation bill, where every member is due. I will want every member to participate. But members, if you know you want to go and use the toilet, before you raise your tax, go and use the toilet until you are set. And you come in. If I call you and you go out because you want to beat the system, you will not beat me. So I will call those ones. I will stop here for the time being and call those who were out at the time I called them. All right. I now invite the honorable member for Nyamina West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. ML, don't tell me 5 minutes. Today we have the liberty to talk. Yes, and that we will talk. Honorable Speaker, I join my colleagues today on this important bill to add my voice. I thank the AG and also thank all honorable ministers present here, the press, my colleagues' names, and everybody seated here. Mr. Speaker, once upon a time, there was an organization assigned to go and run a tax by the executive, and that was the CRC, Constitutional Review Commission, please. Yes, they did due diligence and their work ended. They submitted this report or this document to the sole owners of the document because it is their bill. This needs to be understood. Because the misinformation and the misleading here is too much in this country, and it is all done with an intention of sabotage to the government, and sometimes I don't blame others because they themselves don't understand the process and the duties. This constitution, whether you mention the 2020, 2024, 2030, 2000, it is owned by the cabinet and it is presented by the cabinet. There is no 2 or 3 or 4 divisions of a draft. There is a single draft that is running through, and that those book writers can quote me through, because when you write a book, you have to run on many editions before you publish. So you can tell me that that draft of 2020 is not the same draft that we are running through. It's a process, and that you are misleading the nation. 2020, who owns 2020 draft? Who owns 2024? These are all cabinet documents. Nobody owns any one of them. No. Wait for your turn. You did your turn. I didn't disturb you. Please. They are all cabinet bills, and they are to be presented by the bill to the parliament, and for you to do due diligence that you are refusing today, covering up by many other false information. But I have said it here during the judicial bill again. I said it here, and I supported the judiciary bill. That time I have warned many of my colleagues. That time they did not understand what I was telling them. But today, most of them today are seeing it. It is our duty to sanitize all bills that are coming here. We are running away from responsibility, hiding behind misinformation and disinformation. Some of you don't even understand what you are supposed to do, why you are here. It is a pity. No, it is a pity on us. That is the whole house. It's a pity.
Point of order.
Listen.
Can we hear the point of order, please?
Honorable Speaker, 29. 5. No member shall impute improper motives to any other member. He's telling that members, they don't know what they are doing in this house. We know what we are doing in the house. Don't tell us that.
Honorable, that is very common. That's a common language in Parliament.
Thank you. Then, Honorable Speaker, with due respect, if they know, they refusing now. They are refusing to do their duties, and the nation is watching, and they will be judged by their kids. He himself, Central Body, will mention here that he knew the trick of the government, that they want to rely on the 1997 Constitution. That's why they are playing the game. Knowing that now, why can't he do justice and bring the new Constitution for the nation and his kids? Then therefore, your child will judge you posterity, because your child will lay hands on this document one day, and he will found it best documents ever. The Constitution of the Gambia was presented here in this National Assembly, and you refuse to do your job.
Honorable, address me.
Mr. Speaker, at this point, I will also tell you that consultation was done perfectly, and bring the country. Yes, they've even mentioned themselves. There are many consultations that we have. I cannot just mention all of them, but a few. According to them, even the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation came here, and we were all seated. Some of them are saying that we were never seated for this constitution. So I can just see a drama, I can see conspiracy, I can see a misunderstanding of what people are supposed to do itself. And I can also see lack of willing to do duties. Mr. Speaker, the NCCA conducted a sensitization or a consultation forum in my constituency in Nyamina West at Choya, where the 3 Nyaminas were gathered, and many others by Gambia participate. They engage us intensively on this document. The Human Rights Commission, I can mention a lot. I just don't want to go deep into that. But for consultation, no one can stand here and say this document is not well consulted. Of all, the CRC itself made a lot of consultation, and I stand to say it is the same document that we are working on. Where are the consultations that were made by the CRC itself? So you want to cancel that? It is the same document. Tell me, is it a new draft that is brought from scratch? Please, leave the misinformation and the information. Leave misunderstanding of the populace. But you can only succeed with few. The Gambian people are aware. The Gambian people are aware. They are seated and watching at you. If you think that you are putting this to a minister or to a president, believe me, you are failing yourself. You are failing your own duties. Because this is not for the minister. This is for you to celebrate after successfully passing a new constitution during your term in parliament. This is for the work of the parliament. The minister have done his side of it. Honorable Speaker, I think I will not waste my time much, because allow me to quote this. Mandinka said, Mandinkolko, Nimo Vesino la Isakunino, Niate Kidrobe Ullale, but Nimo ya Fansinondi, Iba Fala Barata Ulla, Al Yal Fansinondi. So I will not disturb myself on you people.
Point of order. Honorable Speaker, point of order.
Yes, may I hear your point of order?
Point of Honorable Speaker.
Order, please.
No.
Honorable.
This member keep referring to you as Mr. Speaker. You are Honorable Speaker.
Which order? Which order? Please.
27.1. No, 27.2. A member elected for the constituency shall be referred to as honorable. He keep mentioning Mr. Speaker. You are a honorable person. Huh?
All right, honorable member for Nyamina.
Thank you, honorable, for reminding me. Then, honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, reminding me. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable. I don't know why you are so curious. Wait for the ruling. Yes, honorable member, refer to me as honorable, please. Honorable.
Okay, Honorable Speaker. Just to mention few convincing points that would have allowed these people, or would have allowed members of the parliament in general to give a chance for the consideration stage. Then the rest can be sanitized. We can fight within ourselves. We can push and pull up. We can lobby each other to fix the rest or delete what we want to delete. That is our job to do. And that's why we are here. Why are we shying away from that or running away from that responsibility? Who will come here to do that for us? Now, some of these speakers have elaborated on some of them, but particularly the diaspora election would have come better. But I can see again, you are playing a game and don't want this diaspora election. You just want to hang out on us. But it would have been better this constitution passed to give a chance for the diaspora voting. But you are refusing that clearly, and it's on the records. Honorable Speaker, on conclusion, once upon a time again, I will give you my final. Yes, it's a moral story, and I will beg to say it in Mandinka, so that to the better understanding of the people, it's record. Honorable Speaker, there is a storytelling in Fula, but I will say it in Mandinka. Honorable Speaker, Sango and Suluo. Suluo e Sango bayinde a bayinde fa dundi tungo kono. Sango dunta tungo kono. Suluo ya la bloketen pour ka Sango singo muta ka saba ka bondi. Ay Sango singo muta ba sabala. Sango kay ko no ye yiri bulole muta. Suluo yiri bulo nyimbula. Anata sorry, Suluo e Sango ni na singo bula anata yiri bulo nyimuta. Ado sabakan. Sango be untula ado wurla ka fa en singo bula. Mr. Honorable Speaker, this story is about to happen to the National Assembly. And the National Assembly should be very much careful and considerable. And one of my colleagues is fond of saying, you need prayers. He needs prayers, Councillor. But the National Assembly needs prayers as we are talking. Honorable Speaker, please, I beg my leave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nyamina West. I now invite the Honorable Member for Gimara.
Order, please. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand on all existing protocols. I want to register my appreciation and also to thank the government of the Gambia for fulfilling their constitutional mandate. Honorable Speaker, at some point I've gotten to a point of no return. A point of no return is a point at which when a person is disappointed, beyond an expression. I've been sitting here since in the morning listening to some of my senior colleagues, senior members of the National Assembly. But I don't want to debate that. Honorable Speaker, the Gambian people, as it's been put by some of the members, want a constitution that will empower the citizens of the Gambia to put checks and balance on the executive and whosoever is being mandated under the constitution of the Gambia to execute a service. But Honorable Speaker, I ask myself, how do we get them, or how do we empower the Gambian people to put checks and balance on the executive? If we as National Assembly members are not willing, as my senior man has put it, or are running away from our own responsibility. Honorable Speaker, today I stand tall as one of the members that stand here and against killing bills at this consideration, or sorry, at the second reading stage. There is a reason why the Constitution or the standing orders provide for such provisions. Because they understand, the drafters of those constitutions and the standing orders understand that no bill or no report will be perfect. That's why it is giving us, the members, the opportunity and the power to sense whatever has been brought to us by the executive. Honorable Speaker, I had members speaking about this bill being crafted by all 25 people or 25 members of the cabinet. But they are forgetting that this National Assembly that we are all here shouting, we are only 58 members. That means 57 members, excluding the Speaker. But we are here to speak on behalf of our people, to make sure we empower them, as you put it, to be able to put checks and balance on the executive that produced this particular bill. Honorable Speaker, there is a reason why the Constitution is called a bill. A bill is a proposal. A proposal from the government where they put provisions that they think these are the right provisions to be able to govern the country. That is their mindset, is only their idea, it's a proposal. You and I are elected to be able to craft and make laws. That's why we have processes, that's why we have procedures, and that's why we have stages of lawmaking. Here, I shall never be a sniper because I have never gotten a military training. And I don't want members of parliament to see themselves as a sniper. Honorable Speaker, our responsibility as parliamentarians is to receive bills from the executive, from committees, or even from individual parliamentarians to be able to govern or address certain issues of the country. But the responsibility here is for the committee of the whole House to sit and consider what is being proposed to be able to give the Gambian people what they deserve. If you fail to get to that stage, you are not only failing yourself, or you are not only failing the country, but you are failing yourself. Because the Constitution provided for you and empower you to make laws. Honorable Speaker, I stand to vote to get this bill, not to pass the bill, but to get the bill to the start or the consideration stage. My reason is that I'm a lawmaker, I have my reservations, I cannot incorporate these reservations, or I cannot make any changes or incorporate my views and the views of my people if I do not get to the consideration stage. Whatever we are doing here, whatever we are saying, we have a lot of genuine, concerns, but these concerns are fruitless if we are not allowing ourselves to get to the consideration stage. And I don't want members to deny themselves in making laws because we have a responsibility to make a law. Honorable Speaker, I don't know how to express it. When I see members jubilating and celebrating that this constitution or the bill is going to be buried 1 million feet, as they put it. And they said that is a victory for them. Honorable Speaker, my victory, to me, victory is not by winning wars. Victory is by doing the right thing to me. Victory is doing the right thing and following my own consent to be able to represent my people. If I should stand alone to vote for the bill to progress to the next stage, Honorable Speaker, I would happily and gratefully do that. Because I know my responsibility as a parliamentarian, and I don't want to do otherwise. So I want to beg members of the parliament to look beyond personal interests. Some people, some members here, their deliberation, they've said it clearly that bills were rejected here. When they were being rejected, we did not consider today, because some of these bills, or these bills, have been introduced by them. To me, that is personal. It is when you fail to convince me to support a provision from a bill, and I have no other means to get it to another level, then I will show you the other side of me. That is no. But that shouldn't be personal. You cannot reject or kill a constitution at the second reading simply because you brought a bill and it fails to make it. Then you are representing yourself, but not the people of the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, with these simple remarks, I thank you for the opportunity and thank everyone for your kind attention. Then I take my leave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jimara. I now invite the Honorable Member for Lower Badibu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my deliberation here is going to be the views and aspiration of the people of Lower Badibu on this draft constitution. After making a series of consultations with the people of Lower Badibu and the Lower Badibu within the Greater Banjul area, and of course the Lower Badibu in the diaspora, we've realized that Gambia needs a new constitution. The constitution that is going to represent the whims and caprices of Gambian people. And we believe the 2020 draft is the people's draft. That was the message sent to me by my people. Honorable Speaker, you have started it. Honorable Speaker, I see this thing as an irony. The people who rejected 2020 draft, some of them are here, are the same people talking to us to adopt the 2024 draft. That's a double standard. And in fact, I went through this particular 2024 draft. There are a lot of changes that has been made, more than 100. More than 100. And we believe that if 2020 draft was allowed to come in, we will have an opportunity to sanitize it, so that the government people, so that what the government people desire, we will of course not give them that. But what we are seeing here now is, like what my honorable colleague said. He said all these two bills emanate from the executive, which of course I have no doubt about that. But the government people or the executive is there to serve the aim of the government people. What they desire for, it's not that they are serving their own interests. No. If there is no Gambia, there is nothing like executive. The fact that we have Gambia or executive, they are there to serve the interests of the Gambian people. And the Gambian people, their document is 2020 draft. I see no reason why the minister responsible of this draft, the Justice Minister, should not bring that draft to this August Assembly, so that we can have an opportunity to sanitize it and give the Gambian people what they want. One of the members said here, he served the previous parliament, that is the 5th legislature. He said if he or if the 2020 draft happened to be here, he's going to kill it. That was a big mistake of him, in my view, because he was part and parcel of the people who rejected that constitution. And now we are trying to tell the people that this is our stand on this issue. All these previous speakers from the I'll call the leftists, they are trying to condemn us. The stand that I am taking here is not my personal stand. I can swear to Quran. I have made series of consultations with my people. They are not in for this 2024 draft because what they are saying is the 2024 draft was designed and structured to meet the interests of an individual. That's the president. Yes, of course. If you say, whoa, that's not my problem. That's the truth. No, sorry, that is the truth. The 2020 draft, the reason why it was rejected here, all of us, we all know it. We were here. You know it better than myself because you were here. You are part of those people who rejected it. So what we are saying is
point of observation, please. Thank you.
What is that? Observation or what? No. We believe the principle of constitution is to enhance democratic values. And that democratic values is being embedded in the 2020 draft. It is nowhere, I'm not saying the entire 2024 draft is bad. I cannot say that. But what we want, what we desire for, is not found in 2024 draft. This is the reason why my people said, I'll knock it, I tell you. And I'm going to knock it, I tell you, inshallah Rabbi. Oh, of course. They said, I'll knock it, I tell you. In fact, it was only 3-4 days ago, I had an engagement with Gambia participate in my house, because I went there. Thank God, when they came, by the time they came in, already more than 400 people were in my compound. And these are all the people of Lower Badibu. That has given me an opportunity to once again hear their views on this 2024 draft. Various speakers spoke on this 2024 draft. None of them has mentioned the approval of this 2024 draft. All of them went against it. They further asked me my personal opinion, like what the Honorable Fonji Bintankar and I said in Mandinka. Ila, I will never align myself with this 2024 draft because it is not the people's draft. If you want us, had it meant you wanted people to make a compromise, they would have brought in the 2024 draft. There, we can of course strike a deal. 2020 draft, sorry, 2020 draft. Then we can strike a deal. But 2024, few people, less than 50 people, sit at their comfort zone to decide the fate of this country. No way, we will not be part and parcel of it. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. I now invite the Honorable Member for Sani Mentereng.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Once I left my seat to use the restroom. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, and fellow Gambians, there are those who want to make us believe that the opinion of ordinary Gambians are no longer important. That the only voice that worth hearing is the voice of the President and his cabinet. Honorable Speaker, I do not share that belief because I know my people. The voice of my constituency has always been clear, courageous, and consistent. They did not send me here to warm the seat, but to be their voice, to be their representative. Honorable Speaker, my people are not speculators. In democracy, they are courageous participants, and history has shown that. Honorable Speaker, we were the first in this nation to elect a woman representative in this National Assembly of the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, once we were the first, not to make a point, but not to make progress. Honorable Speaker, I am honored to be the second woman whom they have chosen. The second woman whom they have chosen, not a symbol, but as a voice. So being the voice of the voiceless, who are the people of my constituency, Honorable Speaker, and through me, they continue to speak. Honorable Speaker, that is why I cannot in good faith support this 2024 draft constitution, which is commonly known as Barrow Draft Constitution. Honorable Speaker, we support the People's Constitution. The 2024 draft was shaped in gardens, markets, mosques, and churches. It carries the spirit of women who toil the soil. Honorable Speaker, the dreams of so many young people that draft our draft, and written not just in ink, but in the blood, sweat, and tears of my people. Honorable Speaker, so I decided this not of an anger, but out of loyalty that those who sent me here. Loyalty to a legacy that began before me and will be left here after when I am gone. Honorable Speaker, we cannot support Barrow's constitution, never on this earth. We support people's constitution because that is democracy, and that is what my people deserve. Sani Mentoring constituency, and of course Gambia at large, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the affirmation or the quota system may be represented. What form this is, or in what form does it come into this constitution, or does it appear in this constitution? We cannot be calling it an affirmative or an affirmation or a quota system, when in the 2020 draft constitution, it catered 14 people. And this Barrow or 2024 draft constitution had reduced it.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, point of order.
Yes, Honorable Member, you don't use the President's name.
Honorable Speaker, can I still proceed with my point of order? So please refrain the use of Barrow Constitution.
Refrain from using his personal name.
What is before you is 2024 draft.
Even you, Honorable Member, we don't use your name, we use your consequency. So please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Speaker. I'll say the President's Constitution. The President's Constitution cannot be supported by the people of my constituency.
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
Honorable Speaker.
Cannot be called the President's Constitution. What is before you here?
Honorable members, can we listen to the Honorable Member for Kantora, please?
Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on Order 29, subclause 5. No member shall impute improper motive on another member. You can use the President's name or tag a constitution to a president. You can do that. What is before you here is 2024 draft constitution. Restrict on that. Thank you.
Point of order, point of order.
I am dealing with a point of order that is not resolved.
Yeah, because it's not correct, in fact.
Pardon?
No, the one that he quoted is not correct.
You are not the
He
speaker.
said a member, a president is not a member of the House.
Even though.
No.
No.
You said, what, may I hear you, Honorable Member for Central Body?
One that he raised, he said, input improper motive to a member. I said the president is not a member of the House.
Indeed.
The standing order that says you should not mention the president's name, that one is there.
Yes. But it is very clear that you cannot call it the president's bill. The president has not tabled the bill before us. You know, you cannot make that term to say it's the president's bill. Please, honorable members, we are having decent debate. We are dealing with a very critical thing in the life of the Gambian people. Let's go to the points and come out with our views without making any other unnecessary cajoling of people or others. Please, let's go to issues. Can you come up, Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the 2024 draft constitution, which had catered a reduction of 7 female members on affirmative action or the quota system. I cannot even digest that, Honorable Speaker, because when this constitution really, or the drafters of this constitution really mean to observe the quota system, they wouldn't have reduced any woman, no single seat for a woman representative. Because for the fact that women are the majority in this country and the voice of women needs to be heard clearly. Honorable Speaker, in the last legislature, which was the 5th legislature, we had 6 women representatives, and now it has reduced to 5 women representatives, regardless of nominated members, which is their right, of course, because the Constitution had given them all right, the president, to nominate 5 other members, which 2 were women. And honorable members, who knows whether there will be any elected woman. And during elections in 2022, 19 women contested, and out of that 19 women, only 3 were elected. So in observing 14 seats for women on quota system, I think they should have maintained that when we are really serious in bringing this constitution. I think the drafters or those who brought, or someone who brought this bill to the assembly, just brought it for the sake of bringing it, just to satisfy the donors, just to satisfy the people outside, but I don't think they really mean of bringing this constitution or the draft constitution to this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, based on that alone, Honorable Speaker, I think I have tied a very big head tie today, and which I am ready to put this draft constitution, 2024 draft constitution, tie it strongly, and then just throw it in the ozone of the Gambia. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it was mentioned that we, the majority camp, do not know our reasons of being here in this chamber or in this parliament. Honorable Speaker, this was just said by a member, the minority camp. It was clearly mentioned here. I cannot be distracted. It was clearly mentioned here. We, the minority camp, do not know the reason of being here, Honorable Speaker, which was clearly mentioned by a member who could not even differentiate between the CRC and RCR. It is a shame on him. When you cannot differentiate between RCR and CRC, who conducted this survey, I think this is a shame on you, and you need to rectify yourself, Honorable Speaker. So as I said, based on the draft, the 2024 draft constitution not observing clearly the stand of women, the majority being women in this constitution, in this country rather, and the youths of this country being the second majority, I stand by the people who try to throw this draft constitution into the ozone. And I will not do justice, Honorable Speaker, without thanking the NCCE. Thank you very much for the effort that you've been doing throughout the country. Thank you very much for going across the country just to make sure that people understand the draft constitution, despite the fact that you did justice.
Honorable, you are not addressing any other person. You are addressing
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring. You address me. Don't address individuals.
No problem, no problem,
Please.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand in this floor of the Assembly, of the Chamber, to thank NCCE for the job well done that they've conducted throughout the country to make sure that Gambians understand the 2024 draft constitution and also to know the difference between the 2020 and the 2024 draft constitution as well as the 1997 constitution. They have done a job well done and they deserve a congratulations from me and of course from all the members. And on that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring. I now call on the Honorable Member for Upper Fladu West. No, Lower Fladu West.
Speaker, when I stand on the floor, some people will start trembling now, especially those I'm facing, because they know. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. This morning, there is a sound in Fuladu, and the message is, Honorable Malo, do extend the message of the people of Fuladu to your colleagues in the National Assembly. Let them not slam the door of reform, meaning that the people of Fuladu want reform. And one of the reforms they are anticipating is to ensure that there is a new constitution. And they want that constitution to be a constitution that will pass the test of time. And there is a heat debate currently going. I want to join my colleagues to bury this constitution. It is going to be buried. Reasons are as follows. The threshold clearly explained that we will not have the number to able to pass it. And because of that, why do I have to stand and waste my defending something when I know the threshold have put it down? I have joined you people already. I have joined you people already. But my people are concerned. What they are concerned about it? Gambians have attributed the 1997 constitution to Jammeh. Gambians have attributed the 2020 draft to Dabo. Gambians have attributed the 2024 to Barrow. Which kind of nation do we want to build? This is very sad, and we feel we could be comfortable. This is a very sad moment. I am elected. One of the biggest privileges I should have today is to enact or vote for a constitution to pass. That will pass on the legislative of the 6th legislature. But unfortunately, the bad blood of the 5th legislature continue to follow us in the 6th legislature. As a result, we cannot pass. There are people that supported it yesterday. And this is sad. Because this is the time that the Gambian people, we know from the surveys, from results, that Gambians want a new constitution. And I look at the new constitution. There is term limit. I look at this thing. There is what we want is to repeal the outdated law. And then in this new constitution, there is an expanded human right provision. Expanded. We know currently in the 1997 is there, but with this one, it's expanded. And then also the reason why I feel it's a sad nation, political party regulations. In this constitution, we have political party regulation. How can somebody lead a political party for 30 years? Are you the owner of that party? And we want to take this country as a serious? This is what is going to address that. But we said no, we want to continue, go with the same thing. That is, even our political parties not to be regulated by law. And the other issue is they said disclose of assets. This is the time that we expect the executive to disclose their assets when, before and after. And in this constitution is there. Is there. And as a result now, what we are now looking into, now what we are looking into, either the 2020 draft belonging to a set, that set will continue to deny any progressive thing. And we as National Assembly members, we have proof failing the nation. Lawmaking is fundamental principle that we are elected for. Why do we want to dodge away from making that law? We have the opportunity in this bill, we have the opportunity to do a lot of amendments. The executive have brought something to us. It is our duty bound to do the needful. And if we want to put it there, that means that the executive been vindicated because they have done what they want to do. It is the responsibility of National Assembly members to legislate it. And now we want to say, no, we are not doing our job. That's why when the elders speak, we find different. Wuldi West have said it. This is a process. We have the opportunity to do a consultation. And my colleague from Saramenteren just cleared out. He said the civic education, NCC, I don't know, NCCE, you know, the International Idea, Gambia participate, they all do a lot of consultation, and even the civil society organization. They even give us their position on this thing. But they feel that we should graduate from sending out this important document, just like that. Just like that. And now, who is going to be blamed? Gambians are saying that the 1997 is no more testing time. Gambians have learned the lessons of throwing out the 2020 draft. Now, Gambians, again, we want to subject the same Gambians to go with this thing. Me, I feel there are a lot of opportunity that we can do. And this is not going to be fair onto the Gambian public. Throwing the bill is as easy doing it, but we owe obligation to this nation. And because of that, I think this nation needs prayers. Because if we are running away from our own responsibility, and we are going to be consumed because 1997, some people supporting 1997 because they aligned to Jammeh, somebody supporting the 2020 draft because they feel that belongs to Dabo, or somebody supporting the 2024 because it belongs to Barrow, and then we still feel that we are sincere and we have that nationalism in us. It's high time we diffuse all these things and go and feel what the Gambian people need. There is a survey that was conducted, and this survey clearly said that 67% of the Gambian people need a new constitution. Now, why do we talking in this? And now, in fact, some of us, I disagree that we were not consulted. We were consulted. I remember International Idea, I remember Gambia Participate, Activist Gambia, and also Goodluck Jonathan, and we already come into censorship. But the unfortunate story, when we go out, we are either carried out by partisan, and that partisan is going to continue. Hence, the threshold remains where it is. I don't like it. I have no option. But understanding the threshold, being a smart parliamentarian, is dead. And I join you people to kill him. But that's not my wish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lower Fladu West.
He said he's observing me. I give chance.
He said what?
No, he said he's observing me.
No, I give you, Honorable Member for Sani Mentereng. Don't be sitting there and shouting, please. Honorable Member, what is the problem?
He said he wants to observe me. I give him. No. He's observing me.
Thank you very much, Member for Lower Fladu West, to observe him that indeed the remarks or submission that have been made here that accountability and transparency is not embedded in the Constitution are false and they are misleading. Disclosure obligation of the President is there. So people should stop giving wrong information, giving fallacies to the masses. Standing here, making those kind of false information, fallacies, trying to play with the gallery. Disclosure obligation is there. So don't fool people that disclosure is not there. There is accountability and transparency. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. for observing me. Well, on my concluding remarks, let's agree that today as legislators we have failed one of our key mandates, not allowing this bill to be scrutinized.
Honorable, how can you say we have failed when decisions are not taken?
Yes, the reasons, sorry Mr. Speaker.
The decision is not taken, it's going to be speculative. You cannot say we have failed when the decisions have not been taken.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I want you to look at the trading debate and looking at also
Honorable, you can say you believe that it may be, but you said we have failed when we have not taken decision.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm analyzing based on the trading debate and also the threshold that clearly indicates that where we are going. We are seeing it. Because I said, because being a smart parliamentarian, I understand where it is, that's why I'm going there. Even though I don't want to be there. Understanding the trading debate. That's why I said this one is dead. And I contribute. I'm joining them to kill it. Thank you.
Honorable, I now call upon the Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues to thank the Honorable Ministers who've taken their time and also members of this society, especially civil society organizations who've taken their time to join us on this important day. I believe that even the chamber knows that this day is very, very important because the chairs can tell they are very new. So that tells how important this day is. Honorable Speaker, I want to begin my speech by quoting from one Usman Jammeh, who has written a book on constitutionalism in the Gambia. And in his book he says, I quote, "All written constitutions are man-made laws and therefore not cast in iron and stone. As such, any mundane law, no matter how perfectly conceived and drafted, will in time show the inevitable fallibility of mortals, including mistakes, oversights, and impractical drawbacks. Invariably, the truth of above dynamics is incontestable, and as such, the dynamics calls for review or reforms to ensure continuity and efficacy. So what does that tells me is that constitutional review process is indefinite, because with time people try to say, okay, these laws are no more in line with the happenings of the society, and as a result amendments are made here and there. The Honorable Member for Woodley East have really highlighted enough reasons, more than enough reasons why we should allow the Constitution to go to the next stages. Because, you know, we used to have what you call colonial constitutions back in 1946 to 1962. But, Honorable Speaker, after the failure of the drafted 1965 Constitution, members of the political parties, civil society organizations, Gambians, including those in the protectorate, call for constitutional reform. You see, what the Attorney General is doing today, many people are blaming him for bringing this before us. Some call this constitution the Barrow Constitution. or the Attorney General's constitution or the NPP constitution. But history will tell you that the 1970 constitution, which was toppled in 1994, was as a result of a resolution that was passed by the National Executive Committee of the then PPP government. They passed a resolution that the government should come up with a new constitution, which is called the Republican Constitution. And as a result, the former president, may his soul rest in peace, Sadauda Jawara, informed the House of Representatives then of his intention to table a draft constitution. And this is because of a National Executive Committee's resolution of PPP, of the party PPP. They passed a resolution that they needed a new constitution. And they were then in power. When the then president presented this said constitution to the House of Representatives, the UP-led coalition went against it. So it is normal that we have seen individuals, some members of the society, some politicians going against this. It's normal routine. But then they allowed it to pass through a process. It was allowed to pass through the process of referendum, to allow the people to also have their voices on how they want to be governed. As a result, over 70.5% of the population then approved that said 1970 constitution. And that was the constitution that ruled us until it was toppled in 1994. So that same constitution was tabled by the then Attorney General, who was M.L. Saho. He tabled that constitution before the House of Representatives. So what the Attorney General is doing is not gulet, you know. It has been happening. So that constitution being overthrown, we now said, okay, there is a new government coming up led by the junta. You see, sometimes when I stand here and say the former President Jammeh was very intelligent, some people will criticize me for saying that. But I think he was a very intelligent somebody. When they came up, the agreement that he had with his junta members was to rule for 4 years, and then they allow us to go back to civilian rule. But this is why betrayal is very bad. You see, some of you are quoting what happened in 2020. But it was all because of what? Betrayal. Coalition members set up a government, brought themselves together, sold their agenda to people, that they want to come up with constitutional reform process that will allow the Gambia to move from 1997 constitution to a new constitution. And now, after 3 years, they themselves, the coalition members, separated themselves, betrayed themselves, and said to the Gambian people, we were the ones who promised you that we are coming up with a new constitution. But now we are taking the backseat. You know why? Because they tried it and then went to the streets and said, you know what? We want the president to come down. We want him to leave the government. And the president said, I am considering the constitution, which is the supreme law of the nation. So he took what the mandate that was given to him by the Gambian people, and not the mandate that the so-called coalition members thought they gave the president. It was given to him by who? By the members of the society. So when they tried it, which they call the so-called 3 years jotna, it didn't work. They said, okay, now let's use the law and then craft a law, bring it before the National Assembly, because we are now divided and we know that we have majority in the parliament. As a result, let's put it in a lawful way of removing him. And that was their primary interest. And this is one of the key reasons why the draft 2020 failed vehemently. That's the fact. Because the president was also advised that, look, if you don't wake up and talk to few members, genuine members of the National Assembly, who are going to make sure that they defend the constitution of this country, who gives you the mandate to rule us for 5 years, billahi, if you don't take your stand on this, you allow this constitution to pass, they will move a motion before the National Assembly to make it lawfully removing you as the president of the country. And this is the advice that he knows that was happening. And in the best interest of the nation, in the best interest of this country, and in the best interest of our constitution and people who put him into office, I believe that those who voted against it, this was one of the reasons why they went against it. Even though I wanted it to go through the process of amendments so as to make it befitting for the Gambian people. But it was rather unfortunate that it was rejected. It's all lingering behind what they call betrayal. So I come back to 1994. Jammeh and his team promised the Gambians that after 4 years of civilian rule, we are coming back. After 4 years of military rule, we will come back to junta, to civilian rule, sorry. But because of betrayal, Jammeh, also being so smart, knows that there were people within his camp that wanted to betray him. These are revelations from the hearings that we had over the TRRC. He then said, you know what? Let me take this back to the people. Then he asked the then CRC to review the 1970 Constitution and bring a draft. Because then there was no parliament. It was just through decree number 33. There was no parliament by then. But now we have a parliament who can allow the constitution to pass through the process and do the necessary amendments to make sure that we have all the issues that are being addressed by our constituents to be addressed in this constitution. So, even though the CRC then report was not even published to give the members of the society ample time to look at the clauses of that constitution, but then it was allowed also to pass through a referendum. So you see, the 1970, even though opposed by the UP and its led coalition, it was allowed to go through the process. The 1997 constitution was also allowed to pass through the process, even though it was opposed by the members of the society and some civil society organizations. So who are we to say, no, we are not going to also do the same thing? We are not very much more intelligent than those who allowed us to have the opportunity to be ruled for 29 years with a constitution, and also for more than 20 years with the constitution that we still have in place. So that CRC report was never given time, and then fast forward, they just went ahead and then approved that CRC draft constitution by a way of referendum. And that is why we have the 1997 constitution. You see, there are key things that this 1997 constitution have addressed. But you see, I will thank the National Council for Civil Education, and Gambia participates. It was unfortunate I could not attend, but I got report from my secretary, whom I assigned to go and attend their consultation. And they have given me positive feedback. But do you know that one of them said You people call for democracy. And democracy is a rule of law which allows people to think and which gives us the opportunity, to participate in political, in elections by making our choices of our own. I said yes. He said, now, how about if you put a clause in the Constitution which says Mr. X, who have ruled the Gambia for 10 years, cannot participate in a presidential elections. And I, as a person, this is the same Mr. X that I want to be my president in the next 5 years. You are denying me of my political right. This is the way he is thinking. He is saying that if you put it as a law, he will not be given the opportunity to what? Elect the same person who have ruled him for 10 years, and that is the same person he wants to rule, him to be ruled for the next 5 years. So you are talking about democracy. So it's critical in nature. The law is very critical. You are saying it's democracy. People should be given the right to choose who they want to be voted as president. And now you put a clause, a law, that is denying him from choosing the same person who have ruled him for 10 years. This is his argument. This is a layman who, sells firewood in the bush. He is thinking along those lines. So you see that constitution is something that is very delicate. We cannot all agree into terms, but we have to reach what you call a compromise. For the general good of the nation, it transcends, as the Attorney General says, it transcends beyond political lines. This does not belong to UDP, neither does it belong to NPP, nor does it belong to DOI or NRP. It belongs to the Gambian people. So whatever we are doing today, we have to remember that we are doing it for today and for the foreseeable future. Honorable Speaker, the present Chief Justice, back in the days in 1997, when the Constitution was passed, he said, and I quote, you see, sometimes it is very important we listen to people who are very learned with the law. These are people who interpret the law, and it's very important we understand that they also make laws, because judicial precedents are also laws. So he said that the Constitution made some significant advances in governance, while also having undesirable features. That is the 1997 he was referring to. So no matter what, I am very surprised that the member for Banjul South, who met me, outside few months ago, telling me that I am thinking of bringing a bill that will make sure that it caters for the quota system. And here we are, a constitution is considering bringing a quota system, and you are here rejecting that constitution. So what are we thinking of? The member for Sana Mentre is somebody who is known for fighting for women's rights in the floor of the house. But today you are here. There is a clause that says it will give opportunity to women for them to participate in politics, and also give them a quota for them to be seated here and make laws that will guide us as Gambians. And you are here rejecting that. I cannot understand sometimes when members speak. Is it that we are moved by some other things or some influential people or what? Honorable Speaker, some said consultations were not done. Fine. You may say consultations were not done. But to be honest, I have attended series of consultations. And during those consultations, I have seen some members in attendance who are here today saying that they were not consulted. Gambia participated. Good luck Jonathan and his team. International Idea, You name them. And even though if consultations were not done, now you have the opportunity for you to do your own consultations. That is by allowing it to go through the process, and then you do your own consultations at your own level. I swear, before coming to Parliament, I made sure that this
Point
bill...
of order, Honorable Speaker. Point of order.
Who is rising to a point of order? Yes, Sani Mentereng.
Sani Mentereng, please. Honorable Speaker, I am rising on point of order 29.5. That no... Excuse me?
39.
You don't know the standing orders. Keep your mouth shut, please. Honorable Speaker, I am rising on point of order 29.5, which is no member shall input improper motive to any other member. Honorable Speaker, the honorable member for Sabah Sanjal is saying that I did not support the constitution based on the quota system that the 2024 draft constitution had already catered for the women in the program. Honorable Speaker, I want him to withdraw that. Thank you.
Members, please, order, please, let's listen to her. Go ahead. Honorable member for Sani Mentereng, can you come up, please?
Honorable Speaker, I said I am rising on order 29.5.
Heard that you said, what did he say that you think?
Yes,
he was
the member said something against me with regards to rejecting the draft constitution, the 2024 draft constitution of catering a quota system for women, which I am denying and I am not supporting, when I, for the fact that is always in this chamber advocating for women, more women representation. So that is completely against me, and I want him to withdraw that.
No, Honorable, I have definitely not heard that. I have not heard that one. I have not heard that. Honorable member for Sabak Sanjal, can you continue?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Sometimes it's a problem when you have to speak last. Sorry. Sometimes...
Member, please, stop shouting from your corner. Please.
Allow him to...
Honorable member for Sabak Sanjal, just take a seat. Honorable members, I have said it here many a times. Please, let's be respectful to each other and ensure that we protect the integrity of this assembly. You cannot be sitting down shouting at members. Honorable member for Sabak Sanjal, can you continue, please?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much once again. Sometimes I feel guilty when I'm just speaking because people might be saying you're taking much of the time, but it's always bad when you come last because already people are exhausted and they want things to move faster. But indeed, Honorable Speaker, a constitution may be supreme, but it is not immutable. It may be supreme, but it is not immutable. That means it can be changed. We can always subject it to amendments, like other members have highlighted before. So, Honorable Speaker, I have done my consultation with my people, and their position is very clear, that this is an opportunity for us to move, which reminds me of one quote from the Germans. They said, "Ein kleines Schritt nach dem anderen." If you do not step your foot forward, you will never move. So we must shift. We have to shift. Sometimes when you are in a bad mood, you think of something good to shift to another side. Gambians have been calling for constitutional change. So let's shift. This is an opportunity for us So I'm calling on honorable members. You know, sometimes you take a decision, but maybe because you are not school, that is why you take those decisions. So the honorable member for Woodley East and the honorable member for the nominated member, they have said enough. And I think that is enough for you to change your mind. I knew some of you met me on the floor of the outside and told me your position already. But maybe it was because you did not know exactly what was happening. Now that people have highlighted some of the merits in the draft constitution, I believe you should be able to change your mind, because nobody has an island of knowledge. Honorable Speaker, with those simple remarks, I want to state that the people of Sabah Sanjal want me to say yes to the draft constitution and allow it to pass through the process so that we can do the necessary amendments. I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal. I now invite the Honorable nominated member, Fatu K. Jawara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, just to pick up from where Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal has just landed. Honorable Speaker, the draft Constitution 2020 was brought before this Parliament here. But when I heard some members of Parliament saying some misleading statement, I'm speechless. This draft Constitution was debated here, and robust oversight and recommendations were made. But because we have a limited number of parliamentarians who were siding with the President, the majority camp decided to throw it outside. Most of the inputs that were made in that Constitution favors them, because they gathered their legal experts to help them draft that Constitution. But when we realized that they want to do a political coup d'etat, we saw them that we are the master of the game. They rely on those retroactive clauses to impeach the President. And we know what we fought. We fought in our heart and blood and sweat to form this current dispensation. That is why we saw them that we are the master of the game, and we deny them. And I'm not ashamed to say it, because we all know how the current situation was before. Honorable Speaker, going through this intervention made by, I'm not allowing you. Point of order. Point of order.
Order? Yeah, I'm using the Constitution.
Pardon?
I'm using section 100 of the Constitution. She said we use the...
Honorable members, I have said it. Even if you shout, he will say what he wants to say. So why don't you allow him say what he wants to say? Please. Yes, Honorable.
I'm using order 18, point of order. I'm rising on point of order 18. But in reference, I'm using the Constitution as reference. Yes, so she said we use the retroactive clause so that we can, unstage the government. What I'm saying, remove the President. The retroactive clause is not saying to remove the President. With your permission, I want to read that.
No, Honorable, no.
I'm not allowing it.
He's misinforming the House.
Honorable Speaker, can I have the floor back?
Honorable, he is not interpreting, she was not interpreting the retroactive clause.
No, she said.
I heard what she said. What she said was, the intent for her was that you will be removed. You will impeach. Honorable, I have heard it as you heard it. No, that's not misinformation. No, that is not misinformation, Honorable Member. Honorable nominated member, can you continue?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I think we owe it to ourselves as Gambian and to the future generation. Honorable Speaker, going through the 1997 Constitution, the schedule, if you permit, I may read only two clauses from the schedule. or if the members can go through it. That is Schedule 12, 13, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Don't worry, I will read it. Honorable Speaker.
The Constitution or the standing orders?
No, the Constitution.
Huh?
The Constitution, the 1997 Constitution.
The Constitution?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Schedule 12, which stated, the President shall be the universal successor as respect the office of the former President of the Gambia as established under any provision. Sorry, this thing is not provision of the Constitution, and the government shall be the universal successor to a former government of the Gambia as to establish and to the Armed Forces Provisional Ruling Council. Going further, Honorable Speaker, again, Schedule 2, if members can go through the legal proceeding, Schedule 2, which states after the coming into force of this Constitution, it shall not be lawful for any court or tribunal to entertain any action or take any decision or make any order or grant any remedy or relief in any proceeding instituted against the government of the Gambia or any person acting under the authority of the government of the Gambia or against any person or person acting in, sorry, it's not clear, concert in individually to assist or bring about the change in. Sorry.
Honorable member.
Yes.
I cannot follow you because I am not sure. Are you on the schedule?
Yes.
The schedule of the Constitution?
Yes.
All right. And it's where? Number 12?
It's page 126, 127.
Honorable, say let people hear it.
Okay.
Huh? No, before you, I mean, it's on the schedule.